Have you ever dreamed of being the smartest in school or college while also having the hottest girlfriend? The MC of this story was such a lucky guy. His girlfriend was the smartest and most beautiful girl in school, and she came from a wealthy family. But Mo had a problem. He was average in absolutely everything, including his looks and grades, and he also came from an ordinary family. That's why he often was bullied for his mediocrity by classmates. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't raise his grades above average. And now, with the final test coming up, the one that would determine if he could get into the same college as his girlfriend, things weren't looking good. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, his luck took a turn once again. Mo was lost in his thoughts when suddenly a screen appears in front of him. As a bright light beams from within the system, he gets startled when he witnesses a little girl congratulating him. While our boy is freaked out to see her and warns that creature not to come any closer, the system girl conveys that she is the latest high-tech product developed by Planet X, and Mo is her host candidate. If he completes the missions given by the girl, he will become her host. She announces Mo's first mission is that he should rank in top 10 of his class. While shrugging her shoulders, she says that since Mo was mentioning this to be his goal, he has to achieve it now no matter what, and if he does not, the system will be uninstalled automatically. Mo fiercely asks if the girl would get uninstalled for real, on which the girl convinces him that she is not some monster and she wouldn't give him tasks that are impossible for him. To give a preview, the system girl points her finger at our boy. Mo felt as if some sort of power is driven into him. The system girl says this is the temporary ability he could use free of charge for a month depending on how hard he's willing to work. As the girl left, a screen appeared in front of Mo. He's still being appalled for what happened, and saw that he has been provided with the ability of photographic memory by the system. He immediately sat on the chair beside his study table to test the ability he has been provided with. He read a few pages and was astonished by the fact that he remembers everything he read. He remembers that the system said it would be uninstalled if does not complete the mission. He said he would have to go back to the old days where he only used to endure ridiculous and harsh comments from others. In this moment he realizes this can be a life-changing opportunity for him, and he should seize it. He calculates that he has 14 hours to study, while 3 hours he could sleep to ensure he's in peak condition. He has 15 minutes to memorize content, 8 pages in 1 minute, which means 480 pages in 1 hour. He realizes if he memorizes the content of 2 books before the language and math test tomorrow, he can score a total of 600 points. Hien Zhang is the topper in Mo's class, and he has a total of 650 points. If Mo scores 600, he would get into top 10 of his class. Mo worked hard and kept on reading the content of the books. He skipped his meal and didn't slept properly. While he was asleep, the system girl appears and mentioned that he has worked hard enough so he is qualified for now. She also mentions there were 1072 candidates, but they have all failed because there's no use of having strongest ability if a candidate does not work hard for it. It was the test day. Xiaomo feels a little sleepy, but he does remember every content he studied last night. Juxi asks Mo if he's confident for the test, on which he replies with a satisfaction that he can score up to top 10 of his class. Juxi has an odd feeling that Mo seems different to her today, while other classmates cackles up as they hear Mo. Mo bashfully asks if he was being too overconfident. Juxi comforted him while telling that she believes in him. Juxi then leaves the classroom while other students were still making fun of him. Mo plugs in the headphones into his ear to ignore whatever comments they were passing for him. The test started and all the students seemed non-serious about the test. When Mo looks at the paper, he immediately realizes that the question is same from the book, just the values are different, and that he can score more than 650 easily. Meanwhile, his teacher is stunned to see Mo doing the test so appropriately. 4 days later, when Mo entered the classroom, everyone started mocking him for talking big that day in front of his girlfriend. Mo was sure that they are just jealous of him because Juxi is his girlfriend. Teacher enters the classroom with test papers in her hand and seemed exasperated. She mentions that everyone did worst in the test. She started announcing and distributing the test papers. Han Zhang, the topper, got 653 points and secured second position in the class. Han was shocked. Everyone kept thinking if Han is second, who might be in first place since only Sumo was left. The teacher announces Sumo has scored 702 points and is first in the class, second in the year. Sumo stands up with pride to receive his test paper. This chapter starts with the scene from Linhai High School teacher's office. A female teacher asks one of the male teachers if he heard of Sumo taking second place in the year, on which the male teacher replied that Sumo has always been among the worst of students. How is this possible that he scored this well? A bald teacher, sitting at the back, turns around saying furiously that Sumo has always been arrogant and that he must have cheated in the test. The teacher sitting beside the female teacher says that even if we think this way, it is impossible for a mediocre student to score 700. The female teacher agreed to what he said, and said if Sumo had no knowledge of the material, how would he know where to find it in the book? On this, All the teachers got hit by the thought that Sumo have actually worked hard. The dean was also sitting in the office listening to the whole conversation. He stood up and told them that there should be no more conversation, and that they should reconduct Mo's test for every subject tomorrow. The next day, Mo was sitting in his classroom. He was thinking how his ability of photographic memory is faded away, but he was satisfied of the fact that he studied all the content he needs. He was lost in his thoughts when someone appears at the door of the classroom and asks him to come to the teacher's office. He stands up being all surprised because he had no idea that for what reason he was called to the office. Our boy enters the office, greeting all the teachers. The dean comes straight to the point, informing him that some teachers doubt his recent test results, and so he decided to reconduct the tests. Mo questions if he's the only one who have to take this test. The bald teacher tried to comfort him, telling him that they trust him. It's just a chance for Mo to prove himself. Mo sharply tells them that he knows that they think of him as a cheater, but he was satisfied that he has enough knowledge to do the test. Mo sees the test paper and gets astonished of the fact that the questions are hard for him to solve, but he also knew if he wouldn't be able to solve the test, his teachers will falsely accuse him of cheating. He was thinking about this when suddenly the system girl appears. The system girl congratulates him for completing his first mission. Sumo claims his first reward. When the teacher hears him, he yells at Sumo to answer the questions on test paper and stop messing around. Mo picks up the pen on desk and starts to write the answer. Meanwhile, the bald teacher passes an absurd comment about Mo that he is a mediocre student who is always playing dirty tricks. Half an hour later, Sumo hands over the test paper to the female teacher. He took 30 minutes to complete each paper. The teacher is flabbergasted by the fact that all the answers have clear logic and they are correct. The bald teacher seems remorseful and wishes that he could have created a harder test paper. The physics teacher asks him to relax as his test includes difficult questions that were not even able to get solved by the toppers. Mo was able to hear all this. Mo completed his physics test in less than 30 minutes and handed over the paper to his teacher. The teacher thought he has given up, but when he saw the paper, it was completed, and all the answers were correct. The teachers realized Sumo was able to complete the test in 30 minutes, which means he took less time than the teachers themselves to answer all the questions. The physics teacher shows concern that if Mo was taking low grades deliberately, on which the bald teacher vociferates if taking tests is only a child's play for him. Meanwhile, our boy stands up from the desk, saying just for fun, being all proud to prove himself in front of all the teachers. The physics teacher makes sure if the last question was solved by Mo himself, on which Mo replies saying that he solved all the questions in front of all the teacher. How could he have cheated? The teacher, being guilty, says he said it because he was enthusiastic to witness Mo getting a perfect score. The teacher, holding Mo's hands, suggested him to participate in physics tournament. This was an opportunity for him to get into the college he wants by getting extra credit. Mo rejects to participate and leaves the office. The teachers remained astounded. 3 hours later, the system girl appears and Mo claims his reward. This time, the rewarded ability was comprehensive and thorough understanding. Mo was able to feel his brain becoming powerful. He was in the hall walking when he heard and saw Juxi calling his name while waving at him. On asking by Mo that why she was on the 6th floor, Juxi reveals her concern about Mo being called to the teacher's office. Our boy told his girlfriend that he was asked to retake the test. After a few seconds of silence, he asked his girl uncertainly that would she believe him if he say he has improved in such a short time. Juxi wrapped her hands around his face, telling him that even if it is hard to believe his progress, she would. Both of them stood there blushing. Juxi ties her hands at the back and mentions that they both will be able to go to the same college if Mo maintains his grades. Both of them were still blushing. Just when Mo was about to say something to Juxi, the bald teacher interrupts him. He yells at him that he is flirting with a girl in school. Sumo answered him in a convincing tone that he's not flirting, he's in a serious relationship with Juxi, on which the teacher screams that he is talking back to his teacher. He also says that you are still students and this may affect your studies. Sumo was really smart to ask his and his girlfriend's rank from his teacher. Since he was the second and his girlfriend was the first in year, he mocks that dating affected their grades so badly that they were able to secure the positions they are on. The teacher was speechless for a moment while Juxi giggles. The teacher screamed again, telling Sumo to stop talking nonsense and that his grades are not finalized. Our boy, with innocence in his tone, says that the dean has already approved his grades. Calling him a fraud, he asks Mo why isn't he participating in the tournament if he is not guilty. Juxi was offended. She told Mr. Liu, the bald teacher, that they respect him, but he should not insult his students. Mo kept his hand of Juxi's shoulder, convincing her that Mr. Liu do have a point. Mo, with a very satisfied behavior, tells Mr. Liu that he will participate in the physics tournament on one condition. The condition was that he would make a bet that if Mo loses, he will do whatever Mr. Liu wants him to do. But if he wins in the first place, Mr. Liu will treat everyone in the class with a fried chicken set meal. Mr. Liu started calculating the amount it would take for the meal. He also started thinking that perhaps Mo wasn't cheating. Our boy played a mind game saying if the Lu wasn't chickening out. On which, to prove himself, Lu said he would take the bet. Both of them clapped against each other's hand, calling it a deal. This chapter starts from a scene of Linhai High School. It's raining heavily today. As the physics tournament ended, the students and faculty sat in the bus to go back to their homes. Heading back, one of the teachers named as Ms. Lai contemplates that she shouldn't be expecting anything from the students, given how spiritless they are. Thinking the tournament wasn't their suit, the Ms. Lee believes that the school doesn't pay much attention to this tournament, as she was given charge of leading a team in the end moment. She also seems frustrated by the thought that she lost to that new teacher, Liu Yu. It was the 5th day now. Sumo and Juxi are standing in the teacher's office with all the teachers and principal. Sumo asks Juxi, "Why are they both only students standing in the office?" Juxi made a guess that maybe the results of the tournament are out. One of the teachers was making sure that everyone is present in the office that suddenly the blonde teacher, Ms. Lee, shouted aggressively at Mo and Juxi that they've no right to disrespect the teachers just because they have good grades. Ms. Lee points out to their teacher Ms. Liu Yu, whom she was having personal jealousy from, that she is not teaching basic manners to her students. Mo was offended by the way she spoke. He told her they did nothing to disrespect teachers. Ms. Lee informs that school prohibits students from dating. With a smirk on her face, she says you both are holding hands and teachers are not fool here that they wouldn't know about this. All the teachers tell Ms. Lee to not include them into her own feud with Ms. Liu Yu. It was in this moment that Mo realized Ms. Lai was using him as an excuse. He raised his hand with Juxi's hand in it, informing all that they both are dating and the principal is fine with it. The principal chokes on his drink and asks, when did he say that? Mo explains him that he told them if Juxi and Mo made to the top 3 in the physics tournament, he will be fine with it. Ms. Lee shrieks at Mo that she would make a bigger scene out of him. On which, a faculty member standing beside the principal agreed to Mo that he heard principal saying that too. The principal informs that they can always make exemptions for excellent students. Miss Lai was starting to argue, but principal interrupts her saying he has an announcement. The announcement was that Sumo from senior class 3 got first place in the tournament, and Yan Juxi from senior class 1 got second place. Mo and Juxi shares a sight at each other filled with pride. The principal asks everyone to give a round of applause for both of them. Everyone starts congratulating the students and Ms. Liu Yu. Meanwhile, Ms. Lee, out of jealousy, leaves the office thinking Ms. Liu Yu have nothing to do with the success of Sumo. Ms. Lee wishes that if she was the one to be class 3's homeroom teacher, then she would have been congratulated. Everyone leaves the meeting room. Sumo was walking with Juxi when he heard his name was called by Mr. Luo. Mr. Luo tells him that he is ready to complete his bet. Mo, being a little embarrassed, tells him that he was joking. Mr. Luo still says that he is ready to complete his bet. He wraps his arms around Mo's shoulders and asks him to go with him. It's the moment of realization that teachers aren't always trying to make things hard for their students. It's just that sometimes they are impatient and rigid. Ms. Lai enters the grade 12, class 4. She is freaked out about what happened in the office before. She bellowed to the students in the class that they have gotten such simple questions wrong, and they should learn from Sumo. While Ms. Lai was all freaked out, Mr. Luo, as promised, was treating students with a meal. Sumo was really happy to realize that teachers are good too. They are just worried about students' grades. On the other hand, Ms. Lee is still wailing badly at students telling them to take Sumo as an example as he has improved in such a short time. She says in a very rude tone that she has taught them well. It's their fault that they did not work as hard as Sumo. One of the students sitting in the class realizes and mumbles in his friend's ear, who was sitting beside him, that Ms. Lee has taken Sumo's name so many times during her lecture. The other student present in class keeps wondering who Sumo is. This chapter starts from a scene where the system girl tells Mo that he is rewarded for completing his mission, and the reward is that his ability would be having comprehensive and thorough understanding of whatever he studies. Mo tests his ability by looking at the questions he didn't use to understand, but by the ability he was able to interpret them. The home time school bell rings. Mo stands up to leave for his house that he hears one of his classmates asking him where he was going. Mo utters that he's heading home, on which his classmate asks him to stay as they have a basketball game. Mo almost forgot about the match, and that is why he was leaving. But now that he was reminded, he decided to stay. He was confident enough that he will win. The next scene is at the basketball court where all the players are warming up to start their match. One of the players from the opposite team mocks if Mo is ready to lose. Mo replied ironically that if the boy would only keep talking or he will play too. The game started. The rule of the game was that whichever team scores 50 points first would win. Mo's opposite team was playing brilliantly that they scored 2 points easily. Meanwhile, Mo's team members got worried. They kept on asking Mo if he is alright because he was zoning out in between. Mo, on the other hand, realized that his ability of comprehending is working here too. He was able to understand the improvements that should be made to the opposite team member, Dawei's moves and flaws in his dribbles. The strongest learning system is applicable in basketball too. Dawei starts to mock on how Class 3 was playing. Mo continues to play his game, but this time he knew all the tricks and techniques and all the weak points of the opposite team players. He ran dribbling the ball and throwing it into the basket. Mo's friends were stunned by his move. He copied Dawei's pull-up jumper move but seems to be faster and stronger than him. Mo's team members were appreciating him, while on the other hand, Dawei was shouting at his team members for not covering Mo. Mo played so well that now his team was on 47 and the opposite team was still on 2. He realizes how tired everyone was at this moment, so he decides not to play, but test his basketball skills. He contemplates the direction of wind, his position, and his move. Mo, standing 3 steps away from the three-point line, baskets the ball. Everyone in the court finds it astonishing. Mo, while picking up his bag and jackets, jokes at Dawei that next time don't waste time in playing full court, just play one basket. It was the next day after the basketball match. Dawei looks at the boys playing in the basketball court and wonders how he has lost his will to play after he lost to Sumo. The audience was communicating how some guy named as Zhao is the god of basketball game because he just hit his 100th basket. Zhao saw Dawei outside the court and asks him to join him in the match. Dawei says he is not in the mood because he lost yesterday to Sumo. On hearing Mo's name, Zhao finds it familiar. Moving doing to his memory lane, he remembers that Sumo's name was mentioned by Ms. Lee on the physics tournament day 1,000 times. The next scene starts with Mo and his friend Fatty Wang walking. Suddenly a basketball comes at Mo's way with an irresistible force. Mo, being an extraordinary, catches it. He sees that Dawei is standing with a boy who threw the basketball. The boy asks, smirking, that is this Sumo, the genius from Class 3, on which Mo questions back asking who the boy is. Dawei introduces that he is Zhao Junze, and he took time out to compete with you. Mo tells he didn't want complete. He throws the basketball away and turns back to leave. Zhao started provoking Mo by saying wildly inappropriate things to him like what Juxi saw in him. He seems like he's a gay. He also says Juxi's eyes are problematic to see a weakling like Mo. After hearing all this, Mo turns back by saying that he is actually provoked. The next scene starts with the audience in the basketball court. Zhao utters that if Mo loses, he would want him to break up with Juxi and don't want to see him jumping up and down in the 2nd grade. Mo tells that it's a 10 baskets game then, and if Zhao loses, he would want him to be his little brother. The audience, on the other hand, is appalled to see Mo competing Zhao as they think Zhao is the god of basketball and he is undefeated. The girls find him attractive for how he plays. Zhao got 9 out of 10 shot. His confidence is at its peak while he throws the ball towards Mo, telling him it's his turn. Mo catches the ball fearlessly and starts scoring. The ball's spin was really big that everyone was surprised to witness it. He kept throwing the ball in the basket and the ball kept coming back on its own without a hitch. Fatty tells how Mo did not move his feet and it's up to 9 baskets already. Zhao was picking up the ball back and forth while scoring, but Mo seemed comfortable while he was playing. Everyone just agreed by witnessing that the real god of ball is Sumo. This chapter starts with the scene from basketball court. Mo is all set to do his last basket, while Zhao is distressing about it. Mo was about to do his last score that his sight got stuck at Mr. Sun. Mo starts to think if Mr. Sun would get him into trouble as he did on the day of physics tournament. He doesn't want this to happen because he wants to go into the same college as his girlfriends. He was just about to do an airball throw that Mr. Sun calls his name, telling him that the dean is calling him. Mo leaves the court without doing the last score. Meanwhile, Dawei, standing beside Zhao, took a breath, saying he was afraid that Mo would score them all. Zhao, on the other hand, contemplates that Mo did this on purpose because he glanced at varsity coach, Mr. Sun, and then he threw a 3 and out on purpose. He thinks that Mo threw an airball because he didn't want to embarrass Zhao. He was so impressed by Mo's sportsmanship that he decides to do whatever Mo will ask him to. In the next scene, Mo enters the dean's office. There are other students sitting in the office too, including Juxi. The dean starts to spill the reason he called all the students. He tells that all the toppers are present in the office. Many of the toppers have failed their college entrance test in the past years, so the school have decided to set an after-school study group for the toppers this year. Mo, on the other hand, finds this idea so boring. His glance stops at Juxi and he somewhat finds relief to see her. Meanwhile, the other students are glad to hear this news from Dean. The dean gives the students question paper that contains questions students will witness in the exam paper. He tells how he has interpreted the 2 main reasons as to why the students have failed in the past. The first one is timing and the second is comprehension. Mo asks the dean, Mr. Zhang, that if he can leave the classes as he understands the questions, and he also thinks he can get a perfect score easily. The other students find Mo's behavior arrogant because Dean did not say that the questions were impossible to solve. He just said that they are time-consuming. Juixi, taking our boy's side, says that he can do it as he won the tournament too. The boy argues with Juxi that the college entrance exam is different from the tournament. Juxi shrieks at him that Sumo wouldn't lie to him. If he says he can do it, he will. The dean tells them not to fight. He asks Sumo to share his experience with learning as he was able to do the retaken tests on time. Sumo was about to deny that Dean interrupted and reminds him for his relationship exemption with Juxi. Mo agrees immediately to speak up. Sumo gives his opinion that practice is the key. He incorporates an idea of making a questions template to familiarize themselves with different types of questions. It will help increase the efficiency of answering questions timely. He asks to memorize one question with 16 different possibilities, so this would save time on the test day. One of the students utters frequently that it will be useless if the questions they memorize are not in the exams. Mo tells it's give and take, memorizing more stuff in exchange for time during the test. Dean is impressed by his idea. Mo constitutes that they should prepare their own guides and practice exams, because benefits of just doing the past papers aren't significant. The students find all this difficult. The dean incorporate with students while telling them that they do not have to follow exactly what Mo said, but some of his ideas are worth trying. All of a sudden, Mo get an alarm that he has been awarded with the ability of Feynman learning method. 1 month have passed, the extra class for toppers is taking place. The dean congratulates Sumo for securing the first place in his mock examination. His fellow students also thank Mo for the learning method he told them. Mo was thinking about how he has the strongest learning system that made him a topper student, that his sight sat on Juxi. Juxi looks tense, so Mo asks her the reason. Juxi denies it by saying she's fine. Dean dismisses the class. Mo asks her being all perturbed. Juxi tells her that there's an uncertainty that her mom wants her to go to abroad, and so she won't be able to go to the same college as Mo. Our boy sympathizes that he will be there for her so he doesn't have to worry. In the next scene, Mo and Juxi are sitting in the living room of Juxi's house, and her mother is sitting in front of them. Juxi's mother tells Mo that she's not one of the old-fashioned parents, and she wouldn't stop them from dating. She also mentions that she trusts Juxi's choice, but she wouldn't risk her education and wants her to have the best education possible. Mo started thinking how he have the strongest learning system and no college in the world could match it. Juxi brings Mo back to the conversation. Her mom asks Sumo to talk. Mo starts to speak in consideration with Juxi's mom. He says he understands that she wants best education for her daughter, but best education is not a paper certificate, a fancy campus, or expensive labs. He says the foundation of good education are the people, the ideas, the masters of academics. Juxi's mother gives a round of applause for what Mo said. Then she says that she agrees to what Mo said, but there's one thing still missing. Just when Juxi's mother was about to say that one missing thing, Mo immediately utters connections. He was able to know that because he has activated the skill, opponent prediction. Mrs. Yan agreed to him, explaining how college friends are greatest assets when we enter society. The system informs that the enemy has played a reality check. Mo already expected it. He was trying to wheedle Mrs. Yan by saying that connections will come to those who are capable. Maybe it's important for some to build connections, but Juxi and he doesn't need to compromise themselves for connections. Juxi's mother was impressed by Mo after what she heard from him. She praised how gem of a person he is to have such courage and knowledge, and that he is reminded of someone from her high school days. Juxi was surprised to see her mother reacting like this. Mo also feels joyous that his speech influenced Mrs. Yan. Mo asks Mrs. Yan that he wants to make a bet with her. Mrs. Yan says she doesn't want their studies to be affected because of this. Mo tells her it won't because he is betting on his college entrance test. He says if he gets a perfect score, he would want Juxi to stay here, and if he doesn't, she can send Juxi abroad. Mrs. Yan finds this offensive. She tells Mo that getting a perfect score is much harder than improving yourself in studies. Mo acknowledges to know that no one has ever gotten a perfect score, but he thinks this is the right way to prove her that he is a perfect match for Juxi. Mrs. Yan, being all disgruntled, says she was impressed by Sumo, but now that he says all this, she totally dislikes Mo's conceitedness. She took the bet and jeered that if Mo loses, she will reconsider if he's a good match, as she doesn't want her daughter to end up with a narcissist. She stands up and leaves the living room. Juxi tries to stop her, but she won't stop. Mo murmurs that Juxi shouldn't worry. He leaves the living room thinking furiously that how could the learning system do this to him, and the system will have to pay for this. The chapter begins with the students sitting in the classroom. It was self-study period in the class. Mo was busy reading a newspaper. Fatty says that he is being a little overconfident, that he is not studying. Mo tells he's reading the newspaper to get a perfect score in the entrance test. Upon asking by Fatty, Mo informs that he is reading it because he only needs to improve himself in the essay. Last night, the system girl appeared in front of Mo. He was so exasperated at the learning system for what it did in front of Juxi's mother. The system girl shrieks that her name is Xiaoxi. Mo asks her not to copy her girlfriend's name. Mo asks abruptly about the perfect score mission. Xiaoxi says she has no information about it, and they should talk about this later. And he also shouldn't worry because no mission is impossible for the host. She then mentions that she is here to bestow him with the award for winning the basketball match. Mo gets excited after hearing this because he was alarmed back then for why he was given such a mission. Mo gets reward ability of master-level calligraphy. Mo shrieks after hearing about his reward, that if this ability is enough for him to get the perfect score. The next scene is from the classroom again. Mo is sitting with a newspaper in his hand, wondering that he is now on his own to get a perfect score, and the key to get it is the essay. He starts to surmise how he has to master social issues and communication studies by which the hearts would beat and eyes will tear up, his breakthrough. The school bell rings. Fatty asks Sumo if he wants to play with him, on which Sumo informs him that he's meeting Juxi with his mom today. Fatty jokes about it that is this what meeting the parents is. In the next scene, Juxi and Mo leaves from the school. As they reach at Mo's house before entering, Juxi tells Mo that she's nervous. Mo tells her that her mother is very friendly. As Mo's mother sees them at the door, she asks who the girl is. Mo tells her that she's Juxi, the girl she mentioned before. Mo's mother, praising her, says that Mo is blessed to have a schoolmate like Juxi. Meanwhile, Mo is thinking how her mother has never been this welcoming before. In the next scene, they had their meal together. After that, Juxi leaves the house. Mo's mother tells her to come more often, and then asks Mo to leave Juxi to her car safely. On the way, Juxi tells how relieved she is by meeting Mo's Mo. Mo asks Juxi to come more often, and then says he'll try his best too. Upon asking from Juxi, he tells he will get the perfect score in entrance exam to win Mrs. Yan's heart. Few months have passed, it's now the college entrance exam day. People are sitting outside the building. There's a girl named Zhao Yuyu. She's the host live on social media. She shows how parents are waiting outside the exam hall as it is an important event in every family. By the comments in her live, Zhao Yuyu seems very popular for her looks. She catches a sight of two students coming out of the exam hall, though there's still an hour left for the test timing to finish. It's Mo and Juxi. Zhao Yuyu approaches towards them and asks them how they have come early. Mo informs that they did the test early, so they submitted it. Zhao Yuyu starts to wonder if she asked the wrong question, and if they are kicked out of the exam hall because they've caught cheating. She asks them if the questions this year were hard, because it's rare to see someone hands in their entrance test early. Mo asserts that the questions weren't that hard, and he can get a perfect score easily. Zhao Yuyu asks bewilderedly. That is Mo serious when he said he can get a perfect score for his foreign language exam in just 1 hour. Mo corrects her by saying, perfect score for the whole exam. Just when Mo says this, tons of comments started coming in the live video saying that he is joking and doing everything to impress the girls. He cannot get a perfect score. The people even seems to notice that he is wearing the uniform of Lin High School. Zhao Yuyu thanks Mo for his answers and then says she'd interview someone else now. Mo and Juxi continue their way to leave. After the interview, the social media was full of hate comments for the reviews Mo gave, calling them to be very arrogant. People started making fun of him and called him crazy. The video got so viral that Mo was even in the Lin High daily newspaper. The next day, principal calls Mo to his office. He shows Mo the news that how his careless, self-assertive reviews have affected the image of Lin High School. There's been heated discussion among netizens that Lin High School has a grandiose curriculum and its students are arrogant. The principal shows his concern that how the school's image is getting ruined. Mo shouldn't have been so careless during the interview because exams results are not even out yet. Mo agreed that he shouldn't have been negligent, but whatever he said was true, and that Lin High School would become famous after the results would be out. The next scene is from the college entrance exam marking hall. One of the examiner is looking into the paper, being astonished by the fact that there's not a single mistake in the whole paper, and the handwriting is also very attractive. He shows the paper to the team leader. The team leader also gets surprised at how perfect the essay and its approach is. He is so amazed by the essay because it didn't seem like it was a student-level essay. The team leader asks the examiner to give it the perfect score as the essay is showing great ambitions, and it is expounding philosophies of life. The examiner argues that this student got all the questions right, and if this essay gets a perfect score, there would be no deducting marks. The team leader shrieks that this should be given the perfect score and that there should be no more arguing because his decision is made. In Juixi's mother's office, one of the faculty members informs to the female faculty member that there's a student with the perfect score this year. She doesn't agree to what he says. He says confidently that you'll see on your own. Mrs. Yan starts to wonder if it's Sumo. The next scene is from Juxi's living room. Sumo and Juxi are waiting for the result to come out as Juxi's mom is not at home. Mo receives a text on his phone that informs him that the results are out. As Sumo starts to see his result, Juxi tells him that she believes in him. Mo gets all elated after seeing the results. Juxi's mother enters the house. She mentions of some news, wondering if it's true or not. Juxi welcomes her mother. She sees Sumo and he says he's sorry to bother her. Mrs. Yan asks him if he has some news. Mo, being all thrilled, tells that he got the perfect score in his test. Mo asks Juxie's mother that she doesn't look surprised. She tells she knew because Lin High School newspaper published that some student from their school got the perfect score. Mo gets all piqued at the newspaper for causing all this trouble. Juxie asks her mother about her bet. She says she agrees for her to stay in the country for further studies. She then mentions to Mo that she's not only impressed by his perfect score, but also his courage, determination, and power of action. She tells Mo to always take good care of Juxie, on which Mo answers that he will. Mrs. Yan thinks that in few years it'll be the right time to marry Juxie with Mo. Mo and Juxie clap each other's hands and hugs each other tightly in contentment. Juxie's mother was watching both of them. She asks them to make a promise that she doesn't want herself to become a grandmother before they graduate. She says that it's strictly not allowed. Mo and Juxie asks what does she mean by this. Juxie sits beside her mom, holds her hands and asks giggling that why is she saying this. Mo on the other hand assures Mrs. Yan that they wouldn't do anything before graduation. Mrs. Yan tells Mo that she believes in him because keeping such promise is facile than taking a perfect score in entrance test. Mo wonders that he doesn't know which one is more difficult. Mo's phone rings. When he takes his phone out of the pocket, he sees his mom calling. He picks up the call. His mom tells him that she received a call from recruiters at Tsinghua University, and they told her about Mo's performance. Mo corroborates that the news she heard is true. Mo is actually the top scorer on college entrance exam. As he says he hopes he have made her proud, his mom was pink-eyed and lachrymose. His mom goes down her memory lane thinking how Mo wouldn't sleep and study late at night. She tells Mo, being all sentimental, that though she witnessed him working hard, she still didn't expect him to do so well in the test. She says your dad will be so proud of you while the tears move down her cheek. Mo promises that he would make them even more proud in future. The next scene is from 2 days later when Mo comes at Juxie's house to pick her up on his bicycle. Mo compliments indirectly saying, "My Juxie looks very pretty today." Juxie asks him who's his Juxie. In reply, he tells her to hop onto his bicycle. Mo says, "Why else would you get on my bike?" On which Juxie compliments that he's a smooth talker. Mo begins to ponder how few months ago he was ridiculed and mocked by everyone, but now everything is changed. As they reach school, a bunch of boys are standing and talking. One of the boy passes comment that how pretty Juxie is. The other boy says that she's way out of your league. Juxie asks Mo about where he will apply for college. He tells her that he has already convinced her mom that wherever Juxie will apply, he will apply there too. As they both walk towards the school building, there's a huge board which says, "Congratulations to Sumo for winning the top award." Juxie enthusiastically exclaims, "This is for you, Mo." The principal of the school hands Sumo's shoulder, telling him that he has bring honor to the school. Mo tells him to calm down and that they can talk about it. The next moment, Mo witnesses all the teachers greeting him at the gate. Mo is all captivated. The principal informs him that the school has decided to put his name on the school's wall of honor. The teachers start to wonder that in 40 years since the school was founded, only 4 people have been put on the wall of honor. The famous icon of literary world, the self-made internet giant, influential political leader and academician with outstanding achievements. Mrs. Liu, one of the teachers, is astonished by the fact that Sumo is only 18 years old, and he is on the same level as those outstanding icons. Meanwhile, Sumo and Juxie are all delighted to hear this news. Mrs. Liu asks principal that isn't this award a bit too heavy for an 18-year-old. The principal turns around and starts to explain Mrs. Liu that the wall of honor is not for showing off the glory of school, but it is to showcase the achievements of students like Sumo that sets as an example for other students. He claims that if an excellent student like Sumo is not placed on the wall of honor, then in future he doesn't think there would be a student who would be able to get a place there. Mrs. Liu agrees to what he says. The principal states that Sumo on the wall of honor is decided. All the students start to cheer, and everyone gives a round of applause for him. Mo claims that he's not that good, and he doesn't have to be on the wall of honor. The principal, after hearing this, informs him that under normal circumstances, the school have a bonus of 20,000 yuan for being the top student in college entrance exam, and for each alumnus listed on the wall of honor, the school will award 500,000. Mo gets amazed by this. He tells principal that he's ready to set an example of excellence for the young students. The principal appreciates him for this. He then asks Mo to prepare himself. Upon asking from Mo, he tells him that the TV station is coming to do an interview, so we have to help alma mater to do a good job. It'll be a live interview, and there will be a lot of people watching it as Mo is the only person to get a perfect score in his test. The next scene is from the conference hall. The principal is giving an interview, telling that this year their school have excellent results too. The interviewer then asks Mo, "What do you have to say for the younger students?" Mo starts to think that he was able to do all this because of the learning system he has, but in retrospect what helped him most was the mandatory tasks given to him by the system, and if he hadn't been pushed to the edge time and time again, he wouldn't have been able to use every ability perfectly. Mo starts to speak, saying that one advice he wants to give to the students is that don't be afraid to lose face. He tells he was also mocked by the people in beginning. He was also a bit afraid that he would fail, but he continued to work harder. Many times the subconscious thoughts like if you are afraid, you shouldn't do it occurs. These thoughts would make you stop to work harder. He claims that obviously there's an element of luck in him being the first student ever to take perfect score in entrance exam, but his secret is that one should not be afraid to be embarrassed. Take a brave step forward and do what you want. Mo's words influenced a lot of people on social media. People started regretting on their comments about him before, and some started considering him as their idol. Mo is sitting in his living room. The system girl appears in front of him, informing him that he has only one entry to win level 1 lottery and asks if he wants to draw it now. Mo says yes. The system girl congratulates him for winning the new ability, which was imagination storming. Mo gets electrified as it looks powerful by its name. The system girl explains that when scientists first discovered benzene ring structure and when mathematicians first made heptadecagon using a ruler, it took imagination to make that leap from 0 to 10. By the ability Mo has been provided with, he will have no problem understanding that. Mo gets impressed by what system girl tells him. He decides to try it. The system girl leaves, asking him to call her when he needs her. Mo activates the ability and starts to test it. It's 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Mo was still testing the ability when he hears the door knocking. He says he'll get the door, but his mother stops him because he was busy. When she opens the door, there's a man with glasses on, asks if Sumo is home. Sumo's mother asks him who he was on, which he tells her that his name is Mr. Lee and he's the head of Jing's university admissions office. He tells his reason for visiting is to discuss Sumo about his university application. Mo's mother gets thrilled to see that the head himself came to the house. As she welcomes Mr. Lee in the house, there's again a knock at the door. There's a man with the same question asking about Sumo. He tells he's Mr. Su from Dai's University's admissions office. Mr. Su's sight catches Mr. Lee and he gets all freaked out that he came to recruit secretly, and he's caught. Mr. Lee smirks at him saying, "You are here too." Mr. Lee finds the paper Sumo was testing his new reward ability on. He starts to go through it. Meanwhile, Mr. Su starts to Sumo's mother about the university he came from. He tells that Dai University is best in country, with excellent campus, faculty, and dormitories. He tells Dai University is ready to offer $300K scholarship if Mo decides to go there. He asks Mo's mother to sign the agreement. Mr. Lee stops him and informs Sumo that if he decides to come to the Jing's University, they'll give him the scholarship of $5 million. When Mr. Su hear him say that, he yells at him asking that isn't $5 million a bit much. That's much more than we give any of our undergraduates. Mr. Lee, on the other hand, notifies Mo that if $5 million seems less to him, they can go higher as long as he'll choose their university. Mr. Su gets all wrathed up knowing Mo still wants higher. Mo declares that his plan is to go to the same university as his girlfriend's. Mr. Lee notifies him that his girlfriend can go the same university too. They will provide her with the authority of choosing whatever major she wants. He also tells that by the post-graduation, both of them can do a course, and the university will pay for it. He even said they will discuss Juxi's scholarship too. He also says that she will get a perfect accommodation with a single dorm. Mr. Su freaks out at Mr. Lee asking if he even have this much authority and that there are dozens of top students. Will he afford the same for all of them? Mr. Lee starts to think that if he lets Mo go like this easily, he would never know what genius he's letting to slip away. This chapter starts with a scene from an airplane. Sumo and Juxi are sitting in that airplane while Mo tells Juxi about the argument Mr. Lee and Mr. Su had. He tells Juxi that 2 months ago, the head of both Jing University and Dai University revisited Mo asking him about his decision. Mo briefs that he has decided to go to Jing University, accepting Mr. Lee's offer because his girlfriend wanted this. Mr. Su asks Mo if he's sure, anticipating he would change his mind. Mr. Lee passes him a smirk, asking him if he has something big to offer. Mr. Su gets all freaked out and leaves the house, uttering that he didn't lose. It was just his bad luck. Mo's mother, on the other hand, is bewildered by the fact that the 2 most prestigious universities are fighting for her son. When the conversation ends, Mo tells Juxi that this is nice that he gets to go to Jing University with her. Juxi exclaims that she still can't believe that they will spend their university life together. Juxi claims that when Mo's grades weren't that good, she still used to believe in him, but now she has this opinion that Mo is a different person now. He has changed a lot. While Juxi was speaking, the air hostesses come with trolleys of food. They hand over Mo and Juxi with their meals. Mo starts to eat clumsily. Juxi, while watching him eat, starts to giggle. On asking from Mo, she says that Mo is not changed, he's the same. Another girl was sitting next to Juxi's seat. When she sees Mo eating like this, she also starts to chuckle. Juxi notices her and wonders if the girl knows them because she is acting like she does. Juxi tells Mo that the girl sitting next is so pretty that even she is attracted to her, and she also informs that this girl was smiling at Mo. Mo tells her that she might be laughing on the way he was eating. In the next scene, the plane reaches the Jing airport. Mr. Lee is standing at the airport himself waiting for the students. He greets them and welcomes the top 3 students. The third student beside Mo and Juxi is the same girl who was laughing at Mo in the plane, and she is also a student at Jing University. He principal greets them saying it's a pleasure for them to have the top 3 scorers of Hebei province. Mo gets astonished as he was the first and Juxi was the third, which means the second position was secured by this girl. The girl says she's happy to meet the first and third scorers face to face today. She explains that her grades have always been great since she was a child. She then moves her hand forward towards Sumo, telling that it's nice meeting him. She says, "Please teach me more in future." Mo shakes hands with her and states that, "Let's learn from each other." Mo has a weird feeling that the girl is up to no good. Mr. Lee is glad that he doesn't have to introduce the girl to them. He then directs the 3 of them towards the car. He opens the door and asks them to get in. As Sumo glances at Audi A6, he starts to wonder how the treatment provided by the university is better than he thought. The girl utters, being impressed by Mo, that it's the first time that someone has a perfect score in college entrance exam. Otherwise, there are high achievers every year in this university, and tells that she is blessed to have him in his university journey. Mr. Lee directs them to sit in the car and he'll help them with their luggage. He also informs them about their paperwork, which will get done once they reach their destination. While arranging the bags in the car's trunk, Mr. Lee contemplates that it's because of Mo's forte in excellence of education that they are being chauffeured around. If a mathematical master who can solve the world's problem is visiting, then this protocol is still very light. As all of them were on their way, Mo wonders how good is it to have a car for pick and drop so he doesn't have to work as hard as other freshmen. Juxi and the blonde girl was sitting in the back of the car. Juxi asks her about her points in the entrance test as she's the second. She tells that she got 736 points. Juxi, after hearing this, utters what a pity. The girl starts tittering, asking what the pity is because she still cannot be Mo's opponent. Mo sniggers, saying that it's Juxi and the girl who are 4 points apart. Mo starts to think that they two are mixing up quickly. Mo was looking out the window when he was called by Mr. Lee, who was asking about his majors and telling him that they've made this special case for him. Otherwise, the students have to choose their majors before they fill the application form. Mo informs him that he will be taking the same majors as his girlfriend's, which was foreign languages. Mr. Lee gets freaked out as he gets to know that Mo is not choosing the math department. He says that Mo is biased and would be fine with any major, but he should use his strengths. Sumo says that Mr. Lee is saying all this because he was able to witness Mo's calculations, and then asks, is arrogance that does he even think that there's a professor who will be able to teach him? Mr. Lee starts to wonder that Mo has a right point. Mo says that even if he enrolls himself in math department, it is a waste of time for him, and if he chooses not to attend the classes, it will have a negative impact on the other students around him. Mo tells him that even if he's in the English department, he could find professors to help him if he wants. Mr. Lee agrees to what Mo said and tells that with Mo's strength, it's the same everywhere. Mr. Lee pulls up the gear at one point and informs the students that they've reached their destination, the Jing University. The students get amazed at how beautiful the campus is. Mr. Lee asks the students to go to their dormitories first. Meanwhile, he will check in for them. Juxi tells him to meet at lunch after freshening up. Mo is all geared up and excited for the long-awaited college, which is just about to begin. Mr. Lee directs the way to students towards their dormitories. Mo drags his luggage and reaches to room number 403. As he opens the door, he is greeted by all the other students who will live in the same sleeping quarter. One of the boys from them greets Mo, introducing himself as Zhao Tian, native of Imperial City. He introduces that the skinny one is Zhang Xiaochuan and the fat one is Wang Fei. He informs Mo that they were discussing about who will be the boss of the dorm. Zhang Xiaochuan contemplates and tells that whoever is older will be the boss. Wang Fei argues with him, telling him to not be vulgar, and let's decide the boss grades-wise. Whosoever have higher grade will be the boss. Both Zhang and Wang started contending. Wang Fei tells that his grade is 707. He utters overconfidently that he doesn't think that someone would have scored above this. Zhang bursts into laughter and asserts that he got 708, just one number above his grade. Wang gets all freaked out at how unlucky he is. Xiaotian passes a fake cough to get the attention of Zhang and Wang. He then claims that he got 716 in his entrance exam. Both of them gets dumbfounded after listening to him. Wang says that with this score, Zhao must have secured the first prize. Mo is listening to them while arranging his stuff. Xiaotian chuckles, telling Wang that he can calm himself down and be the boss. Wang asks Sumo about his grade in the entrance exam. Mo informs them that he got 750 in the entrance exam, being unconcerned if he will be the boss or not. When he tells his score, none of them believes him. Mo tells them to check it online if they don't trust him. Zhao takes his phone out of his pocket and all three of them starts to see the score. All of them get stunned when they witness the score by themselves. Zhao was amazed at how all the good scorers are in the same dorm. While Mo receives a text from Juxi to come downstairs. Mo tells Juxi from the window that wait for him, he's coming. All the other boys come at the window to see who Mo was talking to. When they see Juxi, they all get amazed at how attractive she is. They start to call her beautiful, and that she definitely the school beauty. Wang Fei asks Mo his relationship with Juxi. Mo informs them that she is his girlfriend, and if they want to have dinner together later, they should let him know. All of them gets astonished when he tells them that she is his girlfriend. Zhao Tiang says that without any debate Mo is now the boss of this dormitory. Wang and Zhang tells him that they are all family now and there should be no secrets between them. Mo was unaware of the secrets they were talking about, so they informed him that they are talking about secrets of picking up girls. While going downstairs, the boys keep asking Mo to teach them how to get the girls. Mo said he would, but first he wants to have lunch. When the boys' glance reaches the girls with Juxi, they all get exhilarated. Enron, the girl from Plain, utters at Mo calling him Mr. Scholar that they are waiting from long, and they are hungry, so they should hurry. Zhang seems so impressed when he says that he only expected to have lunch with Sumo's girlfriend only, but there are other pretty girls too. Wang Fei says in elation that they also have a chance to get a girl. Zhang gets all conceited and approaches Enron. He greets the her and tells that his name is Zhang. Wang Fei gets along and tells that his name too. Enron gets uncomfortable and asks Sumo how long will she have to wait in taunting tone. Zhang and Wang gets disappointed. Zhao Tiang sighs and asserts himself contemplating that they are inexperienced, and according to his math, the girl they were trying to approach is out of their league, and the girl they should actually appeal to this girl standing beside her who was short and wore glasses. Zhao greets the girl and introduces himself. The girl greets back. Juxi on the other hand chuckles and utters at Mo that his roommates are so funny. Mo awkwardly tells Juxi, let's find a place first. In the next scene, all the girls and boys are sitting in the restaurant and are having hot pot while having chit-chat. Mo perceives that the guys were eager to come at hot pot restaurant because they wanted to see the girls sweating. Juxi offers Mo to eat hot pot ball from her hand. Mo eats and then thinks that having hot pot was not that bad idea. They were having lunch while Zhao Tiang informs them that there would be a military training for all the students, and he has heard that this year the trainers are very strict. He also warns that all should be careful. One of the girls anxiously says that she is terrified of military training, and the other girl worrisomely says that her skin will get tanned and that she doesn't want to do it. Zhao declares that we will have to prepare ourselves, and for that if the girls need help, they have prepared all kind of posture correctors. The girl shows gratitude and asks to exchange numbers. Juxi utters that she doesn't want the help. Mo says that he doesn't want it either. Zhang asks the reason, and Mo states that they don't have to do the military training. Zhao Tiang speaks with confirmation that he is from this city and he has never witnessed getting special treatment, not even the kids of great leaders. Mo tells that he especially is recruited and so he will be benefited. Wang Fei tells that maybe it's because he got the perfect score on entrance test. The girls are astonished to hear that Mo has a perfect score because according to them, whenever they hear someone got perfect score, it's either perfect score in particular exam or in the Hainan province. Zhang verifies that he actually got a perfect score. They can witness it online. Wang Fei agrees to what Zhang speaks. Zhao Tiang derogates that he will always be a sidekick if he stays around Mo. It's evening now, and the boys have returned to their dormitory. They're all sitting and having a conversation when Zhang suddenly comments that he never expected there to be so many pretty girls in their class. He then calls all the girls goddesses. Wang adds that since Juxi is Mo's girlfriend, they are left with Enron. He asks Mo to tell Juxi to introduce Enron to him, as she's so pretty, and he's sure all the other boys will like her too. Zhang complains to Mo that he shouldn't listen to Wang, as he's been badmouthing him, and insists that Mo should introduce Enron to him. Mo responds that it's been less than 24 hours since he and Juxi met Enron. How could he possibly handle the introduction? Xiao suggests that Mo create a group chat. Mo, confused, asks what group chat he's talking about, since he knew there would be a class group chat created tomorrow, on their first day. Xiao explains that this group chat is specifically for the boys in their dorm and the girls in Juxi's dorm. Mo then understands what Xiao means and says that he'll ask Juxi. The others start calling Mo the best boss and get excited when Mo begins texting Juxi. In the next scene, a group chat is created with the title Team Tackling Uni Life by Zhao Tiang. In the chat, everyone greets each other. Zhao Tiang informs them that this group is for sharing tips and techniques for military training, as they had discussed before. He also says they can help each other with any problems they encounter during university life, and they can ask Genius Sumo for help with studies. Sumanai is impressed by all these benefits. Watching Sumanai's replies, Zhao begins to think she might be interested in him too. Meanwhile, Mo puts his phone aside and says he's going to sleep. The other three boys continue using their phones. The next day, as Juxi enters the classroom, all the boys start admiring her beauty. They wonder who she is and compliment her looks, making assumptions that they'll win her over as their girlfriend. When Mo enters the classroom, Juxi waves at him and tells him to sit next to her. Mo sits beside her. The boys start whispering, wondering why she asked Sumo to sit beside her. Wang Fei tells them that Juxi is Mo's girlfriend. All the classmates are disappointed. When Enron enters the classroom, the boys immediately start obsessing over her beauty too, offering her seats with them. But she heads straight to Sumo and Juxi's table. She greets Mo, calling him a scholar, and sits beside him on the other side. The boys freak out when they see Mo sitting between the two most beautiful girls in the class. Even Wang Fei is astonished. Meanwhile, Zhao sits beside Sumanai. Sumo asks Enron why she decided to sit with him when there are other empty chairs in the room, because he feels like the entire class will hate him now. Enron chuckles while Juxi pinches Sumo in jealousy. Enron explains that she came to ask Mo for a favor. She doesn't want to attend the military training and wants Sumo to ask Mr. Lee to exempt her from it as well. Enron says that she would agree to sit in other seats on the condition if Mo exempts her from the military training. Mo tells her to ask Director Lee on her own, on which she stands up and says that she doesn't care. It's a deal. Juxi seems to be growing resentful of how she's speaking to her boyfriend. Enron gets up from their seat and moves to sit elsewhere. Meanwhile, all the boys in the classroom get their hopes up again for Enron. The teacher then graces the class with her presence. All the boys are amazed at how beautiful she is as well. They start to think about how this university is filled with such beautiful women. She greets the class and warmly welcomes them, introducing herself as Liu Feng. She then asks all the students to give a brief introduction. She points out a student to start introducing himself. He introduces himself as Xu Hongkai and tells that he is the 4th place in year's college entrance exam in Beihai province. He tells that his hobby is music and basketball. Xu Hongkai's real deal was to get girls easily, and that is why he chose language department. His main target was to get Enron. Everyone else give their brief introduction. On Enron's turn, she only tells her name. The teacher gives explanation that Enron got 2nd position in her college exam in Jingbei province. The boys got impressed after hearing Ms. Feng. Some starts to mock at Hongkai for being on 4th position and still having arrogant attitude. Juxi stands up and introduces herself. The teacher tells students that Juxi's results are impressive too, as she got 3rd place in Jingbei province. All the other students get stunned after hearing this. Sumo get up and makes himself known. He introduces himself with his name and his hobby that he is also a basketball player. The teacher adds up that Sumo secured 1st place in Jingbei province and the first ever student to get the perfect test score. The teacher proposes that she would want Sumo to be the president of class. All the student freaks out at Sumo. One of them shrieks at him that why didn't he chose computer science or finance as his field. At the same time, the professors are discussing about recruitment of Sumo in foreign language department. One of the professors suggests that if Sumo is able to solve world's difficult problem, then can he solve the BYD speculation? Sumo and Juxi were walking down the corridor when Juxi congratulated Mo on becoming the class monitor. Mo, however, felt a bit anxious as he had never held such a position before. Juxi reassured him, encouraging him to give his best. Mo then asked Juxi for her opinion on the deal Enron had proposed to him earlier that day. Initially, Juxi appeared envious, but Mo assured her that he would reject the offer if she felt uncomfortable. Juxi, however, advised that since they were from the same province, they should support each other. Mo stated that he would discuss the matter with Mr. Lee and left to find him. Upon entering the office, Mo overheard an intense argument between Mr. Lee and Professor Chen, with the latter arguing that while it was important to present a positive image of the university, exaggeration was unethical. The head of the university was present, observing the exchange. Mr. Lee attempted to defend himself, insisting he would never deceive the professor. Mr. Chen, however, retorted that if Mo was truly as exceptional as claimed in solving mathematical problems, he should have chosen the math department instead. Mr. Lee firmly responded that it was not his place to dictate Mo's academic path. Mr. Chen, growing agitated, warned Mr. Lee that such lies could tarnish the university's reputation. Mr. Lee, now visibly frustrated, demanded Mr. Chen to stop making ridiculous accusations in front of the head, emphasizing that a perfect score on the entrance exam was irrefutable proof of Mo's capabilities. Mr. Lee's gaze fell upon the door, and he realized Mo had been standing there the entire time. Mr. Lee, now addressing Mo, asked why he had come. Mo explained that he wanted to talk about seeking an exemption from military training. Mr. Chen, still upset, sarcastically told Mo to go ahead and make his request. Mo politely asked if it would be possible to add one more person, besides himself and Juxi, to the exemption list. Mr. Chen, furious, scolded Mo, reminding him that the university was not his home. Mr. Lee, sensing the situation escalating, told Mo to leave and come back later. It was then that Mr. Chen recognized Mo as the student who had scored the perfect exam result. Demanding Mo to follow him, Mr. Chen took hold of Mo's arm, dragging him toward his office. Mr. Lee, worried that Mr. Chen's fury might lead to mistreatment, urged the head of the university to follow them with him. The head, however, calmly remarked that a good anvil does not fear the hammer. He added that if Mo could convince Mr. Chen, only then would he be granted special treatment. He instructed Mr. Lee to attend to other matters. Once in his office, Mr. Chen instructed Mo to rewrite his proof for the BYD conjecture. At first, Mo considered ignoring the request and running away. However, as he gazed at his hand, the office, and the medals displayed around him, he realized that Mr. Chen was a respected scholar who had dedicated his life to science and the nation. Mo resolved to complete the task. After some time, Mo finished his work. Mr. Chen, upon reviewing the papers, was left speechless by the brilliance of the proof. Mr. Lee and the head of the university knocked on Mr. Chen's office door, but when there was no response, Mr. Lee, concerned, opened the door himself. To their astonishment, they found Mr. Chen, once agitated and stern, now offering Mo the chance to become his protege. The scene starts with Mr. Chen telling his senior student that how Mo has solved the world's most renowned conjectures. He also mentions how fortunate he is to have him as his disciple. The senior, Chuchen, gets agitated as Mr. Chen has been speaking about sumo for half an hour. He is also concerned that sumo might pose a threat to his ongoing career. He advises Mr. Chen that conjectures are extremely complex, so they should be more cautious when reviewing them. Mr. Chen mentions how some parts of Mo's calculations are quite elaborate, and now with Chu's advice, he begins to feel uncertain too. He stands up, deciding that he will review the conjectures using Yoachi 2 mainframe computer in the lab. Chuchen suggests the professor to let him go instead. Mr. Chen, sensing something, anticipates that it seems like Chu Chen is more interested in Senior Lu from the lab. At this, Chu Chen becomes awkward and says that he just admires Senior Lu's talent. Mr. Chen agrees to let Chu Chen go instead and begins writing a letter. He warns Chu Chen not to mention Sumo's name if there are any errors in the calculations, as it would harm his reputation. Having already criticized Sumo in past, he is determined not to repeat his mistake. Meanwhile, Kuchen grows increasingly irritated as Mr. Chen has mentioned Sumo's name over and over in front of him. Each mention feels like a sharp reminder, heightening his agitation. He enters the computer lab, greeting Senior Lu. Senior Lu is a very talented individual, has made her debut international, garnering recognition for her intelligence. Kuchen hands her the papers, explaining that Mr. Chen has asked to use Yaoqi 2 to review these questions. As Lu goes through the papers, she immediately spots BYD conjectures. Initially, she assumes Mr. Chen had them solved. However, to her astonishment, she finds out a fresher named Su Mo has tackled the problems. Chen freaks out, unable to understand why Mr. Chen would mention Mo's name in the letter. Senior Lu, on the other hand, is amazed by the fact that Mr. Chen, who once considered email a hassle, has invested so much time in writing this letter for Mo. With resentment in his heart, Chu Chen begrudgingly compliments that Mo is actually good. But out of jealousy, he adds that he has heard from people that Sumo chose the foreign language department over mathematics department because he was scared that his fake grades would get caught. Just to clear his stance, he denies the rumor and gives opinion that Mo might didn't chose the math department because he is talented and wealthy. Lu offers her opinion, calling Mo an arrogant student. She adds that whether these equations are tackled by Mo is still a debate. With his overwhelming jealousy, Chu Chen contemplates that he wouldn't let Sumo to be Mr. Chen's second disciple, and that he would report to International Mathematic Union for Mo's academic falsification, which will destroy his image. Meanwhile, at the male dorm, the boys are busy cleaning. Jiang Shouchuan and Wang Fei get into an argument over who should sweep the trash out of the room, each insisting the other to take the task. As their voice rise, Mo intervenes, ordering them to stop fighting and finish their task so they can head out for dinner. Zhao Tiang, with a sarcastic tone, tells them to stay quiet as the monitor has instructed them. After a brief gaze at Zhao, Zhang and Wang turn to Sumo, complaining him that Zhao is being sarcastic. Zhao denies their accusation. Sumo sensed flattering. He asks why Zhang and Wang have been messing with him. Zhao Tiang agrees to Mo, sarcastically suggesting that they are trying to butter up boss to get closer to Enron from their class. Zhang defends himself, insisting that they would never do such thing to their boss. Zhao Tiang informs Sumo that in real someone from the class is bad-mouthing him behind his back. Mo denies, as he felt no such thing. Zhao gets staggered by seeing Mo being calm about it. Sumo insists that he is impervious for what assumptions people make about him. All the boys find Sumo's behavior impressive. During the conversation, Sumo's phone buzzes with a new message. He glances down and reads a text from Enron asking him to help her exempt from military training as he is the monitor. Sumo's expression shifts immediately, sensing sarcasm in her text and realizing that Enron is mocking him, basically playing a game at his expense. The scene begins in a room with high-tech machineries. Senior Lu exits the room and hands over the papers to one of the workers. She asks to inform Dean Chen that the verification has been completed successfully. Curious, the worker asks what the papers are. Lu tells him that they are the BYD conjectures. The worker agrees to take them to Mr. Chen. As he begins walking, his gaze falls on the papers and his feet comes to a sudden stop. Astonished, he reconfirms in disbelief that are these really BYD conjectures. Lu, visibly frustrated, responds sharply so the worker leaves immediately without another word. Senior Lu mulls over in rage that whoever tackled the BYD conjectures should not be the fresher Mo, because if he is the one, he would never comply with academic dishonesty. 6 hours later, Mr. Chen and Mo are on their way to the high-tech room, where Mr. Chen explains that it houses state-of-the-art mainframe computers that Mo will frequently use for his project research. Excited, Mo asks if Mr. Chen will show him the Yaoqi too, at which Mr. Chen replied that this is, in fact, the main reason he brought Mo here. He adds that he also wants Mo to meet another genius of the university. As Mr. Chen opens the door to the room, he says to Senior Lu sitting inside, "So, you're here." Noticing her focused in work, he adds, "You're hard-working as ever." Senior Lu greets Mr. Chen. Upon seeing Mo, she asks, "Who is this?" Before Mr. Chen could say a word, Sumo recognizes Senior Lu and then greets her and introduces himself. As he extends his hand for a handshake, Lu folds her arms, ignoring his gesture. Rudely, she speaks that one must be down to earth when it comes to academics. The ways of the world won't get you far. Mr. Chen gets bewildered to hear Lu's impertinent tone. Lu harshly keeps the papers on the table and informs Mr. Chen that she went through the BYD conjectures and she has some new ideas regarding it. Fretful Mr. Chen sensed bitterness in Lu's tone. He takes the papers from Lu and hands it over to Mo, asking him to go through them. Lu grows angry at Mr. Chen for showing the papers to Mo. Mo sensed bitterness from Lu, contemplating that she is targeting at him. In this moment, Mo gets notified by the system that to become a genius, he would need a fellow traveler on his journey, and that fellow traveler would be Lu Wangyu. Mo ruminates at how will he become intimidating in front of Lu. Deliberately, pointing on the paper, he tells Mr. Chen that one of Lu's ideas won't work. Lu freaks out at him for saying that. At this, Mr. Chen agrees with Mo and tells him to examine the third paragraph. Mo, changing his statement, asserts that he thinks Lu's ideas are advantageous too if they look them from a different perspective. Mr. Chen asks for an explanation. Mo starts to explain. In the next scene, Mr. Chen appreciates him for his idea. Senior Lu, changing her opinion about Mo, expresses her fascination towards Mo's approach of the idea. Mo tells her that he got inspired in the moment. Lu, lowering her face, expresses guilt and apologizes to Mo for misunderstanding him. She then faces Mo, asking him why did he chose foreign language department over mathematics department. Mo asks her in a polite tone that what does she think university is. Lu answers confusingly that university is just university. Mo explains to her that neither the courses nor the learning system is important in the university. He adds that he doesn't think the major he chose will affect what he actually wants to study, because then there would have been no option to go for a different postgraduate field. Lu argues that choosing math would provide him great opportunities, at which Mo informs her that he chose the language department just to keep his girlfriend close to him. Adding to this, he exclaims that we are students, but first and foremost we are humans with feelings and emotions. Adding to his debate, he mentions that if it wasn't for Juxi, he wouldn't have been this desperate to be in the perfect university, and the leaning system wouldn't have stayed with him. Mr. Chen places his hand on Lu's shoulder and tells her that he has long intended to address this, that Lu has not connected with her parents since 6 months. He adds that excessive stress can narrow one's thinking, so relax to think more flexibly. Senior Lu feels encouraged and shares that she never really thought of learn this from Mo. Immediately after this conversation, Mo is notified by the system that he has accomplished his mission. In the next scene, Mo is sitting in his dorm. He gets a notification from the system to collect his mission reward. Excited, Mo clicks at the screen to collect his reward. He discovers that he is rewarded with a new ability which is discerning eyes. Curious, Mo starts to wonder what will happen with the new ability. In the next scene, Chu Chen is standing outside the laboratory when he overhears some students discussing how a student from this student managed to solve one of the top 5 conjectures of world. A wave of irritation sweeps through him after listening to them. He turns his gaze to Senior Lu approaching him. Overjoyed and curious, Chu Chen asks the reason for why she is not working in her lab today. She informs that she is implementing on the suggestion given to her by Sumo and Dean Chen. Out of jealousy, Chu Chen sarcastically compliments Mo, suggesting that he should focus on himself before pointing fingers at other. He adds up saying, "This kid became famous by chance and now believes he is the best." Senior Lu stops him for making such harsh comments and informs him with affirmation that Sumo has actually got a real talent. Turning her back, she bids farewell and leaves. The moment she leaves, Chuchen, full of rage, contemplates that he wouldn't leave Mo alone. In the next scene, Sumo is sitting in his dorm room study table. He places 2 cards backwards. Astonished, Sumo realizes he is able to see the face of the card. He figures out that with his new ability, he's become a human X-ray. With enthusiasm in his tone, he calls Wang Fei to come and change the order of the cards and keep the faces of the card hidden. Wang Fei assumes that Mo is doing a magic trick, so he turns around and do as he says. Wang shuffles the cards and faces the backside towards Sumo. Using his ability, Sumo reveals the card numbers. Baffled, Wang Fei compliments Sumo, marveling at how amazing he is, then asks how he did it. Mo giggles and sarcastically claims that he has discerning eyes. Wang Fei remains in disbelief, wondering if the cards are marked. Meanwhile, Mo is amazed by the new ability the system has granted him. While Mo is lost in thought, his phone rings. He answers the call and greets Dean Chen. Distressed, Dean Chen urgently asks Mo to come to his office in worrisome tone. Mr. Chen informs Mo that someone has anonymously reported him for academic dishonesty, and the International Union is in the conference room investigating. He adds that they insist it's someone else's achievement, regardless of whether there's proof. In disbelief, Dean Chen repeats that Mo has made headlines as academic dishonesty for academic fame. While Dean Chen was on call with Mo, Chu Chen was standing outside his office door, eavesdropping their conversation. Filled with resentment, he ruminates that this is a disgrace to the entire nation's math community, and that escaping this mess will be hard for Mo. It is then revealed to us that all the scientists in the world are divided into 4 levels based on their achievements. Level 1 scientists have limited knowledge that is already known to mankind. Level 2 scientists sometimes reach slightly beyond the knowledge known to mankind. Level 3 scientists have reached the limit of human knowledge, while Level 4 scientists bring in knowledge that's in a whole new field. In the next scene, all the scientists from International Investigating Team are seated in the conference room at Jing University. The head informs Senior Lu that there are 2 Level 2 scientists and 1 Level 3 scientist among them. Concerned, Lu expresses that she has heard that they received an anonymous report. She explains that the report alleges that several scientists from the country have collaborated to prove the BYD conjectures. But we let a young man claim the achievement so that we could elevate him as an academic star. She finds the accusation to be absurd. She pauses, then reflects that very few people knew about Mo solving BYD conjecture, so the anonymous informant must be someone she knows. From the investigating team, Level 2 scientist Tom shows his perplexity to witness Level 3 scientist, Yamamoto. Yamamoto claims that he considered coming because BYD conjecture, one of the top 5 conjectures, has been tackled. Yamamoto also reveals that he has made progress in his studies, and that progress was that he had tackled the XE conjectures. Astonished, Level 2 scientist Mary gets up from her seat and incredulously asks, has Yamamoto actually solved the 6th conundrum, conjecture outside of top 5 conjectures? With satisfaction, he hands over the papers to Tom and Mary, claiming that this is the first half of the proof for his solution for XE conjecture. Tom seems stimulated going through the papers. Mary mentions how Yamamoto will become a Level 4 scientist after completing his proof. Scientist Yamamoto strikes his hands together, announcing that he has decided on a great way to conduct the investigation. He illuminates that, since Sumo was able to solve one of the top 5 conjectures, he would reveal the first half of the proof in front of him. Sumo would have to complete the proof for XE conjecture within 2 hours. On hearing this, Senior Lu anxiously argues that what Sumo solved is different from XE conjecture. Yamamoto informs her that if Sumo cannot do it, the university's reputation will be harmed. Senior Lu, ruminating in anger, is lost in thought when Sumo enters the conference room. With satisfaction in his tone, he claims he will take the test. Mo explains that he overheard their conversation when he was on his way here. Senior Lu, visibly concerned, asks Sumo why he agreed to Yamamoto's challenge, pointing out that it's unfair to give only 2 hours to solve the XE conjecture. Mo ponders over how crucial it is for him to prove himself, as Yamamoto, from Sakura, seems to have malefic intentions aimed at destroying their academic reputation. Yamamoto, wearing a malevolent smirk, reluctantly points at Mo and asks that can he represent his nation's academic community. The papers were kept on the table. Mo lifts up the papers from the table and begins to review them, activating his imagination-storming ability. Mr. Yamamoto speaks arrogantly, referring to Lu, suggesting she should join their university because in 2 hours, her university's academic reputation will collapse. Yamamoto remarks harshly, claiming that being a Chinese scholar would ruin Lu's reputation and prevent her from studying abroad in the future. Vehemently, Lu responds sharply, but Mo signals with his hand, stopping Lu. Sumo informs him that we Chinese scholars wouldn't bother you. Making a decisive move, he hands over the papers to Yamamoto and asserts that he is ready to tackle the conjecture, adding that he doesn't need 2 hours. Ms. Mary inquires in disbelief that how Mo is so sure, as only few minutes have been passed since he took the papers. Mo responds promptly, explaining that a few minutes are enough for him to review proof. All the scientist freaks out at him for his casual mention of a proof. Mo informs them that he has developed an uncomplicated version of solution for this conjecture. Yamamoto rages in anger, calling Mo arrogant. Mo, ignoring him, picks up the chalk and begins solving the conjecture by his own method. He introduces a new formula. Walking everyone through the solution, he reveals that his approach of tackling the conjecture is more concise and uncomplicated. All the scientists get astonished. Yamamoto feels devastated and is still in the state of disbelief by his setback. One of the scientists is appalled, remarking that Mo is on par with a level 4 scientist. Chen Daogong, a level 4 scientist from China, speaks up, affirming that there's no reason to be shocked, since many scientists in the history have made groundbreaking discoveries at a very young age. Proving his point, he cites examples like Gormus, who discovered summation formula at the age of 10, and heptadecagon at the age of 24, and Newton, who invented calculus at the age of 23. He emphasizes that a true genius can emerge at any age. Pointing on Mr. Yamamoto, Sumo says without hesitation that since you said there are only 2 hours left in downfall of Chinese academic community, more like Sakura Nation was only few minutes away from humiliation. Mr. Chen Duogong, while agreeing with Mo, still reminded that he has to respect Mr. Yamamoto as he is a senior scientist. Apprehensive, Mr. Yamamoto contemplates how he will have to face a massive humiliation if details of this investigation would come to light. On the other hand, Mary and Tom discuss how this event will reverberate through the mathematics community. It marks a moment of appreciation for Mo, by all people from his university, as his brilliance shines through in front of the academic world. It's the next day now. Sumo's achievement in solving XE conjecture is making waves through social media, with everyone buzzing with the breakthrough. The news has left students in awe. Even the authorities have upgraded mathematics syllabus to version 4 of advanced mathematics. While Chu Chen walks towards the dean's office, he hears a bunch of people praising Mo for his incredible achievement. Kyo Chen lurks in envy, not expecting his strategy driven by resentment to be wasted. While planning another strategy to bring Mo down, he opens the door to the dean's office. To his surprise, he finds Senior Lu and Sumo standing in the office. Kyo-chan nervously inquires the reason of their presence in the office. Senior Lu looks Chu-chan in the eye and speaks in a heated tone, saying that she let herself handle this situation. She asks Chu-chan bluntly if he was the one who sent the anonymous report. With hesitation in his voice, Chu-chan asks her which report is she talking about. In a fit of rage, Senior Lu explains that the International Investigation Team accepted the BYD conjectures, but their only concern was if it was done by Sumo. If they approved it, they must have seen the copy of proof. She glares at him with fury, accosting him with a fiery tone that only Mr. Dean, she and Chu-chan have seen the proof. Hurling the papers at Chu-chan's face, she yells at him, inquiring how he could take such foolish step out of jealousy. Chu-chan collapses to the ground as the papers hit his face. Feeling abashed, Chu-chan mutters that his mind wasn't in the right place and apologizes to her. At which, Lu asks him to apologize to Mo for carrying out this scheme against him. Looking Sumo in the eye, guilt weighing on him, Chu-chan apologizes. Sumo, slightly embarrassed by the apology, responds that it's no big deal as he thought it would be a much bigger issue when he was informed by Senior Lu to come to her. As they hear Mo saying this, Chu-chan and Lu are astonished. Cho-chan speaks out in shock and exasperation, asking how this isn't a big deal for Sumo, even though it's clear that Chu-chan's career will be ruined. Mo, not wanting to say this but feeling he has to, informs Chu-chen that he himself jeopardized his own future so that Mo could solve a conjecture in such a short period of time. With self-assurance, Mo asks if Chu-chen thinks this was a big deal for him. In the next scene, all the boys are in the dorm. Wang Fei exclaims in bewilderment that it was very unexpected of his senior to set up Mo, and just as unexpected of Mo to let him go so easily. Zhang compliments him, saying he is so cool, and adds that he heard that the old man from Sakura couldn't even explain himself because Mo was able to complete the challenge he gave. Wang, agreeing with Zhang, says excitedly that he can get girls' number if he tells them that Sumo is his roommate. Sumo finds their reaction to be an overreaction. He decides to treat them both to dinner and informs that he has just received his bonus. Zhang, in astonishment, inquires what bonus he is talking about. Mo informs them that he received a bonus for solving the conjecture, and now he has a few millions. Zhang and Wang are stunned by Mo's words. The conversation quickly shifts as Mo asks them where Zhao Tiang is. Wang informs him that he went to play a practice basketball match against Dai University. Mo, curious, wonders if Zhao is truly talented enough that he managed to join the team as a freshman. Wang explains that they only recently discovered his athletic side, but despite being excellent in both academics and sports, Zhao is still incomparable to Sumo. Zhang, eager to praise Mo, adds that Zhao is lucky to have Mo as his roommate. Mo, picking up his jacket, dismisses gossiping and orders them to come with him to watch Zhao's basketball game. After all, a practice match is still a match. The scene shifts to the basketball court, where the game is already underway. Zhao is playing, and he makes an impressive basket. Wang Fei, standing in the crowd, applauds loudly, shouting in excitement at how incredible Zhao's performance is. The audience around him, however, seems irritated when they listen his loud cheering. One of the cheerleaders approaches them and informs them that this is the side for Dai University's crowd, and Jing University's supporters are on the other side. Sumo quickly apologizes, explaining that it's his first time at the game. The girl's eyes widen as she realizes she is speaking to Sumo, the renowned academic hero. The girls start praising him and declares themselves as his fans. Meanwhile, the players on the court gets annoyed when they notice the girls' attention shifting towards Sumo. One of the player mutters, criticizing Jing University's audience, claiming that they lack sports enthusiasm, which is why someone like Sumo is needed to liven up the crowd. While saying this, he charges towards Zhao Tiang, dribbling the ball. Without warning, he elbows Zhao in the chest, causing Zhao to lose his balance and fall hard onto the floor. All the players run towards Zhao in worry, asking if he is all right. Sumo, visibly upset, freaks out that the move is a charging foul. The player from the other team snaps back, telling Sumo not to speak about the game if doesn't know how to play. He adds that basketball is a physical sport, and it is normal for the players to bump into each other. He suggests that if Sumo prefers a softer game, he can teach them too. One of the players from Zhao's team steps in, stating that making random substitutions is against the rules. The player from the opposing team argues back, claiming that this is just practice and there are no rules for it. He says with a smirk that if Mo isn't happy with how things are going, he should just join the match himself, and if he doesn't know how to play, he can stay quiet. Meanwhile, Sumo takes Zhao Tiang out of the basketball court. Zhao Tiang looks at him worriedly and tells him not to pay attention to what the opposing player is saying. Sumo stops, turns around, and faces towards the opposing team player. With wrath in his tone, he says he is ready to play and show his sportsmanship. Concerned, Zhao Tiang warns Sumo not to fall into their trap. The opposing team players, brimming with confidence, taunts him, saying they are eager to see how Mo plays. With self-assurance, Mo tells them to cut the crap, and he will show them how to play with a score 100-0. The next scene takes us to Jing University's basketball court, where Sumo confidently declares that he is going to win by 100 points. Upon hearing this bold claim, the guy from the other team utters that he must be out of his mind, but he is left astonished when our boy manages to snatch the basketball from him in a blink of an eye and runs to dunk it in the basket. While the opponent team member panics, yelling at his team members to stop him, Sumo seems unstoppable, and at the very next moment, he dunks the ball in the basket, leaving the crowd in awe. As soon as the player assures him that it's not going to happen again, Mo again takes the ball from him, making his jaw drop as our boy takes the shot and makes another goal. The scoreboard reveals that Jing University is leading with 39 points, while the other team from Nan University trails behind with 34 points. The captain of the Nan University, visibly frustrated, yells at his teammates, and the players can't hide the fact that Sumo is pretty good at the game. The captain is pissed at him as he mutters that it's bullshit, instructing his team to stop from shooting three-pointers as he won't play physically. With a deadly look in the captain's eye, he tells his team it's okay to play dirty. After that, the players make an attempt to Sumo and asks them if they're trying to stop him. But it seemed like our boy is exceptional at the game as he slams the ball in the basket once again. While Sumo confidently questions if they can really stop him, the other team is panicked as they are unable to stop Sumo because he's too fast and they don't even have opening for tricks. The captain of the Nan University is helpless that he can't even play dirty. He requests his team to avoid Sumo's defense completely and focus on scoring. A player makes the move to make a goal. In a flash, Sumo yanks the ball out of his hands and effortlessly dunks it, leaving him astounded. The captain instructs the members not to penetrate his defense as he is good in stealing and urges them to score. A player confides that Sumo is able to guard 3 players by himself, making it really difficult for them to score. Infuriated, the captain lashes out at them, calling them bastards for losing the game to a nerd. As the game progresses, all the players sit on the floor getting extremely exhausted by the game, while Sumo's energy remains unshaken. As our boy glances at the scoreboard, he notices that Jing University is on 159 points while Nan University still at 57. He immediately perceives that they are 102 points ahead. The scene starts with Sumo dunking the ball in basket. The scorekeeper girl blows her whistle, signaling the end of the game. The girl announces 159-59 Jing University wins. The crowd erupts in thunderous cheers for Sumo. Wang Fei and Zhang beams with joy to witness the match. Zhao compliments Sumo as incredible. Sumo strides confidently towards the caption of opposite team. Looking him straight in the eye, Sumo confesses that he knows Zhao Tiang was elbowed on purpose, which makes it clear that as you sow, so shall you reap. Witnessing the entire game, the cheerleader squad gets stunned at his amazing performance throughout the game. One by one, they begin to swoon over him, admiring how he single-handedly led his team to victory. As Sumo turns to walk away, one of the cheerleader girls comes at him. Sumo urges not to defend their captain. Instead, she hands over her booklet, asking Sumo for his autograph. Before Sumo could respond, the rest of the cheerleading squad rushes towards him, each holding their booklets and clamoring for his autograph. The girls start arguing over who should go first, their voices overlapping in a chaotic frenzy. Caught off guard, Sumo gets nervous, so he escapes through the girls' crowd. Meanwhile, the dorm boys watching this gets proud on how charming Sumo has become. The next scene unfolds in Dai University's literature department. Two students are at work when Mr. Chen Hai, a level 3 writer, enters the room calling for Zhao. His eyes fall on the stack of papers in Zhao's hands, asks what he's reading. Zhao informs that he was going through the marking sheet of college entrance exam, and his gaze lingered on an essay that received a perfect score. He thought it would be an interesting read, so he made a copy for himself. Mr. Chen Hai grabs the papers from Zhao's hand, remarking that this essay was reviewed by the arrogant Mr. Li, who decided to award it with a perfect score. As Mr. Chen Hai skims through the papers, he mutters something about wanting to read the justification behind Mr. Li's decision to give it a perfect score. He leaves the room, still holding the essay papers. Zhao stands there visibly frustrated. Observing the expressions on Zhao's face and witnessing whatever happened, the other student sitting on the same table as him asks that someone had taken the Zhao's copy of the perfect essay again. Annoyed, Zhao responds that he will simply make another copy for himself this time. The other professor expresses curiosity about the growing popularity of the essay. Zhao explains that despite being just a student's work, the more one reads it, the more intriguing it becomes, with the layers that continue to unfold. While the students continue their conversation, Mr. Chen Hai reappears, clearly astonished. Mr. Chen claims that he finds the essay unexpectedly engaging. He explains that the essay seems simple at first. It gradually reveals fascinating details the more one reads it. Zhao, who favors Mr. Li's judgment, remarks that it must be fair of him to award the essay a perfect score. Mr. Chen Hai, still in amazement, insists that the essay is not just high school level perfect. The student who wrote it, he suggests, could be considered as a level 1 writer. With a sense of admiration, Mr. Chen Hai announces that he plans to share the essay with the Writers Association, as rare talents like these should be highlighted. He leaves the room, still in awe of the work. Zhao, unable to hide his resentment, mutters that Sumo will gain even more fame from this. When asked by the other student, he explains that Sumo is already a level 1 scientist, and with this essay, he will also become a level 1 writer. In the next scene, it becomes clear that the social media is flooding by Sumo's remarkable achievements. The tweets are pouring in about his last basketball game, his tackle of the BYD and XE conjecture, and his entrance exam essay. One tweet reveals that Sumo made an addition to his achievements, earning him the title of Level 1 Literary Writer. Someone also exposes his real Weibo account. Enthusiasm spreads quickly as everyone was eager to have conversations with him. The next scene takes place in the male dorm number 403. Our boy wakes up as his alarm rings at 7 a.m. As he unlocks his phone, he gets stupefied watching 97,000 messages flooding in. Stunned, he sits there, trying to process it all, when suddenly, the system girl appears, congratulating Mo for surpassing over 20 million fans and completing the hidden mission which was to become famous. In disbelief, the system girl praises Mo for completing the hidden mission with such potential, expressing that she didn't expected this from him. Mo, unaware, asks in confusion if gaining followers counts as completing a mission. Without thinking, he asks how gaining popularity relates to a learning system. Wrath in her tone, the system girl shrieks at Mo that life is a learning process too, and communication is also a skill to be learned. Noticing her anger, Mo quickly agrees with her, and then asks about his reward for completing the mission. The system girl, now irritated, explains that she was supposed to inform him about the mission, but since he triggered her, she tells him to figure it out on his own. Mo tries to convince her to tell him the reward, but she storms off in frustration. Determined, Mo decides to check the reward for himself. On the screen before him, he taps the option labeled Become Famous, only to be shocked by what he sees next. He witnesses that the mission has multiple levels. Level 1 is complete and Level 2 is still in process. While using his phone, he starts to contemplate if the remaining level is tied to the number of fans he has. Confident, he believes he can complete the remaining level on his own. His attention shifts to one of the tweets he received, which reads, Come and save these idiots at the brain contest. Mo frowns, puzzled. What exactly a brain contest is? The Brain Contest, an international variety competition. More than 10 countries from around the world gather to showcase their talents across various intellectual principles. Each participant competes individually, testing their abilities and knowledge. The event is a major platform for global talents. The teams included in the last contest were China, Lighthouse Country, Cherry Blossom Country, Eagle Country, and Witch Country. After the scores were tallied, the Lighthouse Country secured first place. This victory led to some mocking from Lighthouse Country, particularly aimed at China, which had performed poorly. The mockery from Lighthouse only fueled the anger in China, setting stage for a fierce rivalry. Now China is determined to regain its pride and take revenge on Lighthouse Country. Lighthouse Country is also ready to compete. The stakes are higher than ever and both the countries are preparing to win this time. The next scene begins in the cafeteria where the girl sitting in front of Sumo was eagerly informs him about the brain contest. She shares how the entire country is pinning their hopes on Mo to bring them victory and show Lighthouse Country that they've got the real talent. Mo, uninterested, dismisses it as just another crappy variety show. He sips his drink and nonchalantly tells the girl that he is uninterested. The girl, undeterred, slides the tab near him and urges to watch the video. Mo, having zero interest in the video, still plays it. The video is an interview featuring a spokesman from Lighthouse Country. The person in the interview shows confidence, declaring their goal is to defend. The interviewer states about the genius in China, Sumo, could pose a significant challenge. The spokesman immediately dismisses the idea. He argues that it is nearly impossible for an 18-year-old to be a level 1 scientist and level 1 writer. His words are met with applause from audience. He then tells about the superiority of Lighthouse students and firmly states that this time too, they will win without a doubt. Ending his debate, the spokesman he bets challenges our boy directly, claiming that the Chinese genius Sumo will never compete. He suggests that Mo's refusal will serve as an excuse for China to continue being boastful. The audience applauds again. As the video ends, the girl urges Mo to check the comment section. As he scrolls through the comments, he notices one recurring sentiment. The one who commit crimes against China must be slaughtered. Mo pauses, deep in thought. He realizes that this might be the perfect opportunity to complete the second level of his mission. With a determined look, he turns to the girl and announces that he is ready to participate. The scene is from outside the Jing University. Two girls, both from the same university, are discussing about Sumo's decision to participate in the brain contest. They express their excitement, hoping that he will win. Sumo and Juxi are walking nearby when they overhear the conversation. Juxi proudly tells Mo that he has become famous. But then her tone shifts to anger as she scolds him for not informing her about the contest. Noticing Mo's guilty expressions, Juxi immediately clarifies that she was joking. She then points out that Mo has also gained anti-fans. Showing him her phone, she reads aloud some of the comments criticizing him. The comments mock Mo, suggesting that he is not as talented as people think, and that the hype around him is exaggerated. Juxi turns her phone off and looks at Mo with her eyes full of hope, urging him to do his best. Mo, filled with pride, promises to bring home the champion cup for her. Juxi giggles and tells him she believes him. Together they walk away. The next scene takes place in Brain King program office. A man sits at a table smoking a cigarette, looking weary. His assistant enters the room and informs him that their last sponsor has pulled out. The man reacts angrily, exclaiming that they had even offered them the naming rights, and yet they are leaving. He calls the situation absurd. The assistant nervously asks what their next step should be, since they have no money left. The scene shifts to a flashback, where three men are having conversation about the program. The bald man tells them that the viewers' rate for the show aren't good, and suggests they find more cost-effective advertisements for the show. The man with glasses adds that their team lost the last time, and sponsoring this kind of program will have a negative effect on their brand. Returning to the present, the man contemplates the situation. Their team lost the previous national competition, and now competitors are being mocked by the country's anti-fans. This could discourage future participants due to the fear of being trolled. The assistant hesitates before sharing more news. The man, frustrated, urges him to speak quickly. The assistant informs that Sumo is willing to join their team. The man, still exasperated, dismisses Sumo's offer, believing it won't help their situation. He points out that even if Sumo advances to the international competition and round 1, it's the total score that matters, not his fame. However, there's a noticeable shift in the man's expressions as he realizes something. He mutters that Sumo's fame could bring much-needed popularity to their show. The assistant, concerned, asks what will happen if Sumo gets eliminated in the auditions. The man, now appearing to have a plan, replies that he should use Sumo's popularity to attract sponsors and increase the show's visibility, then worry about the competition later. The next scene transitions to boys' dorm room number 403. John brings his notebook to Mo's table, asking him to explain the question. Wang Fei, in a dismissive tone, tells Zhang to stop disturbing Boss Su. Zhang insists that this will be a practice for Boss to explain the questions no matter how simplest the question is. Wang Fei, still annoyed, reminds him that tomorrow is the audition day. Mo informs them that the program team called to tell him that he doesn't need to audition, and he is already promoted to preliminary rounds. Both Zhang and Wang Fei get astonished by his immediate promotion. They praise Mo, marveling at how the program director must have recognized his ability. Zhang notices Zhao Tiang using his phone and asks him if he is pretending to use his phone. Zhao tells that he is looking through the hot searches and notices that Mo is the only one promoted to the preliminary rounds without needing an audition. Zhao informs the group that Mo has gained anti-fans who are actively trying to embarrass him. He then exclaims that he feels like someone is orchestrating all of this behind the scenes. Zhang responds, suggesting it will be beneficial if someone were pulling the strings. Zhao, visibly concerned, points out that if Mo fails, the Knightsons will be furious. With self-assurance, Mo urges the boys to have confidence in him. Adding up, he mentions a quote, "In the face of absolute talent, everything in nothing." 3 days later, it's the day for the Brain King debate competition preliminary round. The crowd is electric with excitement as the host, Zhang Cheng, welcomes everyone. She informs the audience that 100 competitors have made it to the preliminary round from 1,000 to 10,000s of applicants. Zhang then introduces the competitors and explains the format. They must answer the questions simultaneously, and only the first 10 participants to answer correctly will earn points and move forward as true competitors. These top 10 will represent the country in international competition. Zhang Cheng calls all the participants onto the stage. When Zhang and Wang from the audience spot Sumo, they wave at him, calling out to him as boss. Sumo waves back, at which the girl sitting in front of Zhang and Wang thinks he's waving at her, becoming thrilled at the thought of his smile. Zhao Tiang, sitting behind Wang Fei, is impressed by how many supporters their boss has. As all the participants intake their positions, Zhang gives the countdown, and the competition begins. The first question appears on the screen. Pictures from which the participants have to identify the one that is different from the rest. Zhang is taken aback, commenting that he didn't expected these types of questions to be included in the competition. Wang Fei laughs at one contestant who looks utterly confused while studying the screen. Zhao Tiang mentions having heard of a technique called 3D eye. He explains that by overlapping the left and right images with your eyes, the difference between them will become apparent. By adjusting your view vertically and horizontally, the distinct image will reveal itself more quickly. Wang Fei notices Sumo's baffled expressions while looking at the screen and realizes that Sumo is unfamiliar with the 3D eye method. The scene transitions to the backstage, where the program leader is monitoring the live feed of the front stage. The assistant enters the room, informing the leader that the hot searches have been manipulated to trend on the internet. The top search headline reads, "China's top genius can't even pass the preliminary round." The leader plans to use this controversy to spark outrage, hoping to generate publicity and attract sponsors towards his program. The leader then exclaims that he had designed the questions without any emphasis on mathematics. While Sumo may be genius, the leader muses, he isn't so extraordinary that... The leader notices Sumo's change of behavior. Sumo confidently clicks on the buzzer. The host immediately announces that only 10 seconds have been passed since the picture was shown, yet Sumo has already buzzed in to answer. After a brief pause, Zhang announces in disbelief that Sumo's answer is correct. The audience is shocked. Zhang, astounded, shouts that he didn't even finish looking at all the 100 pictures. Zhao, turning to Sumo, remarks that he always knew Boss was a genius, but didn't realize he was this overpowered. Meanwhile, Sumo reflects on his last reward, the supervision power. It proves to be incredibly powerful and advantageous for him. One by one, Sumo answers 7 questions correctly in a row. He scores 70 points, securing the top rank. Wang Fei compliments him, marveling at his skills, while Sumo basks in the praise, feeling overly proud. Meanwhile, the leader still watching the screen from front stage, his fury mounting as our boy continued to excel. His carefully led conspiracy is falling apart. He had assumed Sumo was merely a mathematical genius, so he intentionally included the intelligence questions to trip him up. Yet, to his astonishment and frustration at the same time, Sumo proves to be an all-around genius. The leader's assistant enters the room, looking nervous, and reports that the situation is really strange. The leader snaps at him, saying that he can see it himself. The assistant hesitates before explaining further. Facing the phone screen towards the leader, he elaborates that the online reviews are unusual. The leader grabs the phone and starts scrolling through the comment section. The screen is filled with negative feedback, accusing the program team of rigging the game and changing the questions on purpose so Sumo could easily answer them. The assistant nervously suggests hiring a hype team to boost the show's popularity and ratings. The leader explodes with anger, furious that instead of targeting Sumo, the assistant's actions are sabotaging their own program. The next scene then flashes back to 12 hours earlier, where we got to know that the assistant did a strong PR company, but what they didn't anticipate was in just a few short hours, it already hired many people. The worker seems to be impressed by Sumo and says that the target does not seem to have anything bad about him. Listening to this, the head reminds him that he has been working as an anti-fan for 2 years, inciting war, flaming people so he doesn't need to know anything bad about them, and clarifies him to get done with the work and tear them apart. After that, the team gets to work, and there seems to be an error in the communication that is flaming the program team, instead of insulting Sumo. The scene then takes us to Sumo, who appears to be answering all the questions correctly, and takes the first place in the scoreboard with a total of 150 points. On the other hand, Wang Fei and Zhang cheers up for Sumo and makes fun of the second competitor, whose score was 104 points at this point. At that moment, Zhao Tiang lets out that the boy who's second in scoreboard looks kind of familiar, and realizes that he's Song Li Xin, who's also a big genius. Wang, who was cheering for his boss Sumo, asks about Li Xin, and that's when Zhao reveals that he was the third-place winner of the last Brain King competition, and his power is almost equal to the first-place winner. Upon hearing this, Wang is left astounded when he realizes that Mo has surpassed Song by almost half his points, concluding that Sumo really is the country's most intelligent person. The scene begins backstage, where the screen showing Sumo is still on. The leader yells at his assistant to call the PR company immediately and have them remove all the negative comments circulating online. The assistant quickly runs out, shouting over his shoulder that he'll handle it. Left alone, the leader slumps into the chair, hopeless and overwhelmed. He knows he doesn't have the budget to hire the PR company, much less book a paper venue, and this entire fiasco is bound to jeopardize his career. He begins reflecting on his first day in the television business, but his thoughts are abruptly interrupted when the assistant bursts back into the room, visibly thrilled. The leader glares at him, frustrated that he can't even take a moment to reminisce. The assistant eagerly faces the phone towards him and explains that someone contacted them offering to sponsor the program. The leader, still exasperated, demands clarification. The assistant repeats, this time adding that the sponsor wants Sumo to be the main mascot of our program. Without hesitation, the leader orders him to accept the offer. The scene shifts to the front stage, where the competition is concluding. Zhang, the host, announces that the competition has officially, and declares Sumo as the winner of the competition for answering 20 questions in the row correctly. Sumo secures first place with a total of 200 points, while the second place candidate, Song Li Xin, finishes with a total of 137 points. Song Li Xin, on his way back, furiously slams his hand against the door, convinced that the questions in the competition were leaked. The next day, in their classroom, a fellow student mentions hearing about Sumo's participation in the Brain King competition. Wang Fei, brimming with pride, enthusiastically shares that Sumo took the first place. Another student chimes in, saying there's a rumor that the questions were leaked before the competition. Zhang dismisses this as nonsense, elaborating that Sumo is always with them in the dorm, so they would have known if this were true. Juxi giggles softly, admiring Mo, when she gets wind of the conversation between two boys who are talking about Sumo's exceptional talent and how, even as a freshman, he might not need to attend classes anymore. Just then, Xu Hongchai enters the classroom and sits beside Juxi, greeting her casually. Juxi nervously responds while Zhang, visibly furious, informs the student that the seat is already taken. Xu Hongkai smirks and replies sarcastically that there's no name mentioned on the seat. Zhang gets steamed at his reply, but before he can escalate, Su Mo steps in, placing a calming hand on Zhang's shoulder and greeting him. The entire class turns their attention to Sumo, curious to see him attending class, since most know he doesn't need to be here. Concerned, Sumo notices Juxi's discomfort and gently asks if something is bothering her. She calmly suggests they move to the back and sit together, as usual. Gathering her belongings, she led Sumo to the back row. As they settle in, the rest of the class erupts in laughter, leaving Xu Hongchai humiliated and seething with anger. Moments later, the teacher enters and announces that this is the first class of the foreign language module. She informs the students that their first task is to understand their future professions. The atmosphere in the room shifts, and the lesson begins. Sumo, concerned, scribbles a note on a piece of paper asking Juxi to share whatever is troubling her. Meanwhile, the teacher continues her lecture at the front of the classroom. Juxi replies back on the paper informing him that nothing is wrong. The teacher explains to the class that although the field of foreign languages is not as complicated as physics or mathematics, it is a profound field of knowledge that offers numerous opportunities, such as becoming a simultaneous translator, or even a foreign relation diplomat. While the teacher continues speaking, Sumo remain engrossed in writing on the paper. Suddenly, the teacher announces an exercise and instructs the students to translate a passage she writes on the board. Picking up a piece of chalk, she writes a Chinese passage. Xu Hongkai eagerly raises his hand, volunteering to translate the passage. Zhang and Wang, still furious at him for what he did, exchange annoyed glances as Xu Hongkai stands up and make his way to the board. While walking, he sneers inwardly, convinced that even if Sumo is considered China's top genius, he is no match for him in the foreign language module. Xu Hongkai completes his translation and steps back. The teacher examines it and comments that while his work isn't entirely wrong, it still lacks precision. She assures that mastering such skills will come with time, as they have 4 years to refine their abilities. Dismissing Xu Hongkai, she asks him to go back on his chair. The teacher then turns to Sumo, calling on him to translate the passage. Caught off guard, Sumo looks at the teacher in confusion and asks what translation she means. He adds that he wasn't paying attention and needs clarification on which language she wants it translated into. Li Xin perceives that Sumo is faking his knowledge of translation to provoke the teacher. The teacher, visibly irritated, glares at Sumo and sharply instructs him to come to the board. She challenges him to write as many languages as he knows. Sumo walks to the front confidently. The teacher hands over the piece of chalk to him. He pauses for a moment, staring at the blank board. Meanwhile, Xu Hongkai chuckles slowly at him that Sumo's fake knowledge will be exposed. Breaking the silence, Sumo turns his face towards the teacher and remarks that the empty space on the board will not be able to hold up all the languages he knows. The teacher, unimpressed, instructs him to write as much as the board can accommodate. From the back of the classroom, Zhang whispers sarcastically to Wang that the teacher seems to explode in anger. The rest of the class begins to make fun of Sumo. One of them starts recording on their phone, calling it a historical moment, while Xu Hongkai whispers in delight, expecting Sumo to embarrass himself. Sumo begins to write same passage in multiple languages. Student, who was recording the scene, gasps, claiming in disbelief that Sumo has already written it in over 20 languages. Another student, stunned, asks if he is using any devices. The first replies in awe that Sumo isn't using anything but his own knowledge. The teacher, astounded, slowly takes off her glasses. Her mind races as she recalls writing the original passage herself just the day before. She examines Sumo's translations more closely, realizing that only are they accurate, but they also highlight logical and uncommon writing. The teacher, stunned, reflects on the display before her. Even she, with years of study, has mastered only 5 languages. Yet Sumo demonstrate the level of profession that would take maximum 20 or more years to achieve. Sumo hands the chalk back to her and informs her that he cannot fit any more translations on the board. The teacher dismisses the class, her thoughts consumed by extraordinary talent of an 18-year-old. She decides to speak with Dean about Sumo's abilities. Meanwhile, the student who is making the video plans to upload the video, eager to share this moment with everyone. As Sumo returns to his seat, he leans forward to Juxi and asks with mock arrogance that how good he is. Juxi giggles softly and responds that he is really good. In playful curiosity, she asks why he is suddenly becoming flamboyant. Sumo sniggers in front of her but keeps his thoughts private, knowing all of this is possible because of the scholar system. The next scene takes us to dorm number 403. The system girl appears, congratulating Sumo on his performance during the rematch, which has been significant for his mission progress. Intrigued, Mo asks the system girl to display the panel in front of him. With a snap of his fingers, a glowing panel appears in front of him. The panel lists the skills which included Unforgettable Memory, Master Calligraphy, Golden Eyes, Master Go Mastery, Language Mastery, and Brainstorm. The panel also shows Mo's total points at 0 and his value point at 133.75923. Mo frowns and asks about the unchanged points. The system girl explains that these points are achievement points, and its system will only unlock once he meets the required level of followers. Sumo argues that he already has 13 million followers. The system girl clarifies him that he needs to have 20 million followers to activate the achievement point system, which will automatically raise the points. Sumo falls back onto his bed, staring at the ceiling in frustration. He wonders how long will it take to meet the requirement and resolves to adopt a high-profile strategy to gain the followers faster to activate the point system. The next segment commences in the principal's office. Sumo knocks on the door and the principal invites him in with a warm greeting. Sumo requests the principal for a leave of absence. With a relaxed demeanor, the principal inquires if the leave is for the King of Brains tournament and how long will it take. Sumo informs him that competition team said that it would take maximum of half a month. The principal nods thoughtfully and tells Sumo that King of Brains have become really popular, so he should perform well and not bring embarrassment in the name of Anna University. Sumo reassures him, inwardly reflecting that the King of Brains trophy is already as good as his. The next scene transitions to the TV station director's office. The director is going flipping through a file of candidates for the upcoming competition. He pauses and observes that a graduate from Imperial University, Song Li Xin, is on par with the freshman, Sumo, of Anna University. Both are exceptional mathematicians, young and immensely talented. The team leader, standing in front of him, adds that they both are on the same level, but Song Lee is focusing more on social promotions. Adding up, he informs that Song Lee came on the 3rd place in last Brain King competition, which was bad luck since his abilities are equal to the 1st place winner. He continues, noting that Song Lee Shin was originally set to lead the team in the international competition. The director considers this and asks if Sumo will now be chosen instead. The leader confirms and praises Sumo's remarkable skills. The director commends the leader for his work. Adding up, he inquires about the ongoing internet trolls targeting the event. The leader, a bit nervous, tells that people are spamming frequently, closely monitoring the situation. The scene opens with an intense internet rivalry brewing between two factions. One group passionately claims that Sumo is the finest young scholar of this generation. In contrast, the opposing group argues that while Sumo is undoubtedly a genius, but he cannot surpass individuals with who are 100 or even 1,000 times more experienced. The debate grows heated, with the first group dismissing their opponents as jealous distractors, labeling them as sprayers. The second group retaliates, calling the first as brain-dead fans. As the exchanges intensify, neither sides show any signs of backing down, and the rivalry continues to escalate across the social media. The next scene takes us to the director's office. He addresses the leader, emphasizing the importance of focusing on his assigned work. Since it is a variety show, it's important to stay aligned with the public opinions to win their favor. The director adds that if the leader manages everything well, he can secure a promising future for himself. With determination, the leader assures him. Inwardly, he reflects that this is his chance to shine now, and he must make Sumo the highlight of the show. The scene transitions to the meeting room. Making sure everyone is present in the room, the leader announces the start of the meeting. One of the members silently questions the necessity of gathering in person instead of communicating through email. The leader, with a clear purpose, announces that for the sake of the show's popularity, each contestant will have to choose a challenge that cannot be repeated. The announcement causes unrest among some of the members, finding the challenge unfair. However, the leader continues to speak, revealing Professor Chang from University of Science and Technology to be their judge. The mention of Professor Chang astonishes the group, as his expertise are renowned. The leader elaborates that Mr. Chang is the most authoritative person to evaluate the difficulty of each project. The leader then asks them to choose a difficulty level ranging from 1 to 10, assuring them that by the end, they will have an objective evaluation. He confidently declares that difficulty level of 7 cannot be tackled by the average so-called genius. The red-headed member, visibly satisfied, remarks that it won't be an issue for him if Professor Chang is the judge. Pausing for a moment, he reveals that the last person to pick will be at a disadvantage. The others glance at him, puzzled. The leader clarifies that he has called everyone to discuss this matter. Acting as a mediator, he will present all the options, giving everyone a right to choose the project that best suits them. Sumo, raising his hand, utters that since he was the last one to come, he will be the last one to choose. Song Lee Shin stands up abruptly, walking towards the table displaying the series of projects. Without hesitation, he picks up the card labeled with a difficulty level of 9.5. The leader, shocked and confused, inwardly perceives that he had intended Sumo to take on the hardest level since he is the biggest selling point of the show. All the members are left astonished looking at the card Lee Shin picked. Breaking the silence, the leader asks if he's sure to pick that card. With overconfidence, Song Lee replies that it's his choice to make. Then, in a sharp tone, he asks all the other members to choose their cards quickly and get out of here. The members exchange glances, marveling at Song Lee's boldness in selecting such a high difficulty level card. After that, one by one, all the members step up to choose their cards. Finally, only Sumo was the remaining one. Song Lee asks him to choose his card. Sumo notices and finds it weird how Lee Shin was targeting him. The only card left on the table is labeled with a difficulty level of 10, Microscopic Water Identification. Sumo steps forward and picks up the card without hesitation, accepting the ultimate challenge. The red-headed member seems to be in a state of disbelief when he witnesses Sumo's choice of the card. It is then revealed to us that Microscopic Water Identification test is a formidable challenge. The task requires the challenger to carefully observe 500 cups of water and then assign one of the cups to a spectator. Afterwards, the challenger has to turn around, closing their eyes, while the spectator shuffles and rearranges the cups in a random order. Once the arrangement is disrupted, the challenger must locate the previously designated glass of water by analyzing the air above the cups alone, relying entirely on their observational skills and extraordinary focus. Song Lee Shin, filled with curiosity, asks Sumo if he's truly certain about choosing that card. Sumo, brimming with confidence, firmly affirms his decision, repeating Lee Shin's early statement that it's his choice to make. Irritated by the response, Song Lee challenges Sumo, declaring that he will eagerly watch how Sumo performs. Rising abruptly, He storms out of the room, sharply remarking that he hopes that there's no foul play in the show. The remaining members start murmuring, criticizing Song Lee and Sumo, labeling their behavior as mean and arrogant, predicting their failure in the competition. Sumo, visibly annoyed, asks why his choice is creating an uproar among others. The leader explains that these contestants are from Imperial University. Their last competition was Lu Jiao from Anna University, a formidable opponent. They never expected to face another challenger from Anna University, let alone a freshman with extraordinary potential. The leader continues, pointing out that tension arises from the academic rivalry between faction, which naturally made Sumo a target of their frustration. Sumo expresses his disappointment at how these scientists waste their energy on such petty rivalries. The next scene brings the latest news about King of Brains competition to light. The first piece of news, posted on 28th of November, reveals that all the contestants thinks of Sumo to be arrogant. The second update, posted on 29th of November, speculates that Sumo's performance has raised suspicions about missing questions in the competition. A microblog post on 30th October criticizes the crowd cheering for Sumo, calling them crazy. A Weibo comment advises to wait until the competition day, when everything will come to its revealing naturally. It is now November 1st, the day for domestic finals for the King of Brains competition. The host greets the audience warmly, welcoming to the highly anticipated show. She introduces Professor Zhang, who will serve as the judge for the competition. Giving a brief introduction, the host highlights Professor Zhang's impressive expertise. He is the youngest expert in the field of brain research, and his papers have been unanimously recognized by the academic community, both nationally and internationally. Professor Zhang takes the stage, declaring that science is the only criterion for him to make any judgments. Backstage, the leader watches the live show, his face revealing nervousness. Sensing this, the assistant expresses concern and asks if something's wrong. The leader reflects inwardly on Sumo, that his future is in our boy's hands now. The scene transitions to the leader's office, where Sumo is sitting in front of him. The leader tells Sumo, since everyone has left, it's time for the arrangements. He asks if Sumo will act as the audience's trustee, or if he should handle the matter on his own. Sumo, visibly confused, questions what is he talking about. The leader presses further, asking him if he wants to take on the challenge all by himself. Sumo grows visibly exasperated, and the leader repeats his question, sensing his frustration. Finally, Sumo responds in an imposing tone, clearly raged, declaring that if any falsifications are involved, he will simply quit the competition. The leader grasps, pointing to Sumo, and warns him not to ruin his career. The scene transitions to the venue where the competition is underway. Professor Zhang announces that the red-headed contestant's performance was good enough to score a 9 based on execution, but keeping up with the difficulty, he can only score him 54. The host adds that this score does place the contestant in top 5 ranking. The host then announces the next contestant, Song Lee Shin, introducing him as the seed of the competition. She highlights that his chosen project is face recognition and its difficulty level is 9.5. Before Song Lee begins, she engages Professor Zhang in a discussion. Addressing the viewers' questions about face recognition isn't just a competition of eyes, but it's considered as King of Brains competition. The judge explains that face recognition is not merely a test of eyesight, but a comprehensive challenge that requires exceptional skills like brain power, calculation, memory, image process skills, and so on. He further adds that some people can recognize spatial distances faster than others. Some people are faster in recognizing the height of sound. These are all examples of brain powers. The host announces that Song Lee Shin has completed his challenge and successfully identified the correct face number. The judge commends his performance, noting that with 9.5 points, Song Lee Shin's performance can be considered perfect. He adds that Lee Shin completed the challenge in such short time that he will award him with 10 points. The host calculates the scores and announces Song Lee Shin's total as 95 points, the highest score till now. She invites audience to give him a round of applause. Next, the host introduces the next contestant, Sumo. As she glances at his chosen difficulty level, she gets astounded. The judge shares his point of view, admitting he was also shocked when he first saw the selected level, as he did not expect anyone to attempt it. He also expresses his curiosity to see Sumo's performance. Sumo confidently enters the stage area, waving at the audience. Addressing the crowd, the host announces that she will select a volunteer. Numerous hands rise from the audience, and she eventually chooses a young man who eagerly steps up to the stage. She explains to the audience that a question with a 10-point difficulty is the ceiling power of human brain power. She adds that everyone must wait and watch whether Sumo can complete this challenge. The scene switches to Studio 2, where the other contestants are watching the screen from the competition. One contestant, smirking, questions Song Lee if he was the one to arrange the audience to insult Sumo. Song Lee Shin replies dismissively, stating that his only concern is ensuring there's no cheating in the competition. He mentions that he personally inspected the props earlier, which seemed fine to him. He contemplates that even if Sumo has any tricks, it might involve techniques like false focus to detect a difference. He assures himself that as long as audience is not a trustee, Sumo will get embarrassed automatically. The member standing beside him remarks that unless someone cheats, no one will complete a project like this because true competition always relies on hard power. Arrogantly, Li Xin says, pointing at Mo, "What power a clown that even the math department is afraid to choose can have." The scene shifts back to the competition hall, where Sumo stands before a table filled with glasses of water. The volunteer analyzes that there's no mark on any glass that will make it different from others. The volunteer selects a glass of water, which Sumo closely examines, holding it up to observe it in detail. The audience is watching him with full concentration, curious to evaluate if he can achieve the impossible. The host asks Sumo if he is ready to begin the challenge. Sumo confidently confirms that he is. He puts on a blindfold and turns around as the volunteer changes the position of the chosen glass. While this happens, the host engages with the judge, asking him the probability of success for Sumo. Professor Zhang claims that he is unaware of the exact probability, but he believes that this project has reached the limit of human ability. Sumo removes his blindfold and begins carefully examining the glasses kept on the table. The professor continues to speak, estimating probability of success is not more than 1%. Sumo silently focuses on one glass, carefully analyzing it. The host remarks in disbelief that Professor Zhang seems so doubtful of Sumo. He replies, explaining that he is sticking to the scientific reasoning. Finally, Sumo points on a glass of water with his index finger, asking, "Was this the glass you gave me earlier?" The host reacts with astonishment, exclaiming that Sumo made his decision in less than 2 minutes. She asks if he is absolutely sure about his choice. Sumo confirms confidently, standing by his answer. The host, in disbelief, announced that Sumo has identified the correct glass. She urges the audience to applaud for his performance. Sumo waves his hands out in the air, radiating pride. Meanwhile, back in Studio 2, Song Li jumps to his feet, shrieking in shock that how is this possible? The other contestant, in disbelief, asks if this was cheating. He suggests it could be the glass having thick or thin bottom. Song Li disagrees, explaining that he has already examined the cups before the competition. He also points out that even the technique of defocusing cannot reveal the difference. Inwardly, he wonders how Sumo manages to do that. The scene shifts to the competition venue. The host acknowledges that it's hard to believe, and then turns to Sumo, asking him to reveal the technique by which he was able to do this. Sumo, a little nervous, tells that he simply saw it. The host then turns to Professor Zhang and questions him about the science principle behind Sumo tackling the challenge. The judge responds that Sumo must have the four-eye vision, a rare ability. Curious, the host asks what that is. Professor explains that many mammals are unable to distinguish between yellow and certain abstract colors. To them, tigers and plants appear the same color. The ordinary human eye can see 3 different colors, but people see crow as black, which birds perceives as colorful. He explains that people with 4-color vision can see colors that ordinary people cannot. He adds that scientists have long proven that water also reflects a portion of UV rays, and if a normal human eye could capture this UV light, be able to witness water as a colored liquid. He continues, saying that since water is in constant motion, switching the order of water glasses would cause the water surface to change. However, this requires having a 4th type of visual cone cell and strong graphic reasoning skills, which would allow one to detect the changed pattern of water. He adds that he did not expect anyone to complete the challenge perfectly, which is why he calls it the brain best, and Sumo is deservedly the king of brain. The scene transitions to the studio where King of Brains overseas tournament is taking place. The host congratulates competitor William for securing first place in the Lighthouse Nationals. William is sitting in the VIP section at the back of the studio. Feeling overly cocky, William says that no one in his competition can beat him. The man sitting beside him informs him that he has heard of an emerging competitor from China who seems to be a strong contender. He adds that this competitor, Sumo, scored a perfect score in the microscopic water identification test. William responds with a cold reaction. The guy taunts Sumo, that microscopic identification and full marks. Who would believe it? Being arrogant, calls the Chinese people yellow-skinned monkeys, accusing them of always having an inferiority complex, which makes them come up with false claims like this. William adds that since they've made such a bold false claims, he believes the Chinese program team will definitely try to bribe him to lose to China's competitors. The guy asks if he will refuse the offer. William replies that he wouldn't refuse. The man then asks if he's really going to lose to a monkey. William smirks and says that both money and victory must be secured. The other guy asks what would happen if they expose William. With overconfident demeanor, William replies that they wouldn't dare to expose him, because doing so would put their own reputation at risk. The guy calls William a devil. At which, William responds by saying that the world works like this. When the weak commits a sin, they lose everything, but the strong ones can take it all. Sumo walks through the corridor of his university when suddenly someone grabs his forearm around their fist, pulling him along. He shouts but quickly realizes it's Senior Lu. She explains that she needs to ask him a favor. Concerned, Sumo asks what it is. Lu reveals that it's a personal matter. Calling her as his sister, Sumo assures her that she can tell him anything. She tells him that her parents have insisted she go on a blind date, and she wants Sumo to accompany her and pretend to be her boyfriend. Sumo is stunned by the request, and mentions that he already has a girlfriend, suggesting she ask someone else for help. Senior Lu, however, insists that she has no other friends except Sumo, and since he calls her his sister, he can give his sister a favor. Sumo responds that he would help if he didn't have other commitments. Senior Lu, clearly upset, warns that if he refuses to help her, they won't be friends in future, and she would also lose her family. Feeling pressured, Sumo quickly agrees to help and comments that Senior Lu's persona has changed. She pulls him along and tells him that they're going shopping. She explains that Sumo couldn't wear casual clothes he is already wearing to the event. He needed formal attire. Sumo protests that he hasn't worn any formal clothes since he was a child. Noticing Lu's irritated expressions, he immediately agrees, adding that he hopes it won't cost her too much. The next scene transitions to a restaurant where Sumo, now in formal clothing, enters with Senior Lu. As Sumo surveys the surroundings, concluding that Senior Lu must have a good match waiting for her. Senior Lu explains that the man she's meeting is in his early 30s, and her parents believes that she can find someone perfect like him for herself. She adds that the ideal match for her should be more qualified and talented than she is, and she can't find anyone like that in all of China. Lu glares at Sumo, inwardly perceiving that in the past, there had been no one, but now she sees the perfect match is standing beside her. The waitress approaches them, asking if they have an appointment here. Sumo informs about their reservation with Mr. Wang Ke. She leads them to a table where Mr. Wang is seated, sipping a cup of tea. As Mr. Wang catches a sight of Lu, he is immediately flattered by her beauty. He greets her and asks how she is, but then notices Sumo standing beside her and asks for his introduction. Senior Lu grabs Sumo's arm, holding it firmly, informing Wang that he is her boyfriend. Ignoring this, Mr. Wang asks them to sit and talk. Sumo is slightly shocked to see that Mr. Wang isn't reacting to their behavior. Senior Lu asks Sumo to add a chair to their table. Sumo places it beside her and sits down. He contemplates that he might not be upset because they aren't close enough for him to notice the tension between them. Mr. Wang asks what this gentleman does. Sumo introduces himself as an ordinary student at Anna University. He mentions that he doesn't belong from a rich family but is definitely handsome than Wang. Sumo then taunts Wang that he is already younger than him since Wang will be turning 40 plus this year. Mr. Wang compliments Sumo, saying that he is quite eloquent. He then questions Sumo about his family's profession. Sumo taunts him again, remarking that he is really old and still out checking the account of his family. Mr. Wang tells that, as far as he knows, Lu doesn't have a boyfriend. Sumo calls him foolish for saying that. He grabs Lu from behind and tells him that he just told that Lu is his girlfriend, the woman for whom he fell in love at first sight. In an arrogant tone, Sumo warns Wang to stay away Lu, stating that he will soon contact his family about her. Mr. Wang becomes extremely triggered and storms out of the table. As soon as Wang leaves, Sumo immediately removes his hand from Lu's back and nervously tells her to forget what just happened. He explains that he was just angry at Wang and had no intentions of taking any advantage of Lu. Filled with emotions, Lu thanks Mo for his help. She tells him that she cannot repay him for what he's done, and then asks his opinion for actually being her boyfriend for real. Sumo is stunned by her question and dismisses the idea as ridiculous. At that moment, Mo's phone starts ringing. He informs Lu that it's the head of TV station, so it's important for him to take the call. Sumo quickly leaves and asks to contact her later. As Sumo leaves the room, Senior Lu, being upset, speaks to herself that she actually didn't like Wang. The scene transitions to the TV building. As Sumo enters, the leader apologizes him to ask him to come on short notice. Sumo tells him that it was no trouble for him. Inwardly, however, he feels relieved, perceiving that the phone call saved him from a huge problem and that it would be an issue if Juxi finds out about what happened with Lu earlier. The leader escorts Sumo to the conference hall, where all the other contestants are already gathered. One of the members remarks at Sumo that he is the last one to arrive. Sumo explains that he is just a freshman, and so it's hard for him to take time off from classes. The members get astounded at his explanation that he is just a freshman. The director compliments that he is so young to have such achievements. The leader announces that the reason for calling everyone here is to introduce a training session before the competition. Sumo, unimpressed, casually remarks that it's just a variety show. There's no need for training. The leader then explains that 2 days ago, a number of overseas contestant who suggested to fake the match. Song Lee frowns and interjects that they were so cocky in the previous competition. Why are they suddenly asking us to pretend to lose to them? The leader elaborates that they want us to give them money and promise to pretend to lose to us. One of the contestant freaks out when he hears this. The leader continues informing that they have rejected the offer. He adds that in the past 2 days, they had the audacity to launch an international campaign shifting the tactics that we tried to bribe them to fake the tournament, and they rejected us. And because of this, people in international media are dragging our name through the mud, calling us academic frauds in China. He tells that this is a very unusual condition since many countries are suppressing on us. He tells that the nature of competition for them now is to either win or lose. At this moment, a screen appears in front of Sumo revealing his mission as Science Without Borders, which includes Prove the World with Strength. The power of science is pure. No conspiracy or scheme should be involved. For all these, the reward will be an advanced lottery chance. The leader then introduces 2 academicians of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and informs that this time they will be responsible for their training. 4th-level scientist, Academician Zhao addresses the group that they are pride of the country, but even the top-class students can further improve themselves with the help of training. By assessing everyone's memory, calculation, observation, and experience, he will then arrange the order of play according to the strength of each contestant. Song Lee sneers inwardly that Sumo is no better than him. Mr. Zhao concludes that this is a week-long training, so everyone should work hard to perform their best in the competition for the sake of their country's reputation. The scene transitions to the X-City headquarters, where the academician review Sumo's work. Their jaw drop as they analyzes the perfection of his calculation and observation. Sumo is confused to watch their expressions. The academicians dismiss the training class. The leader asks the reason of dismissing the training, since it was planned for a whole week. Mr. She tells that there's no need for the training since there's an all-round talent, and this time they will surely win. The other academician explains that Sumo scored a perfect score in preliminaries with his excellent memory. Adding up, he tells that he has tackled the top 5 conjectures since he has best calculation power. He adds that microscopic water identification concludes that his observation power is unparalleled. Mr. Xiao tells that now that he has witnessed it all, it is time to believe in his abilities. The next scene is from 1 week later at the airport. Sumo tells stands ready to board his flight. Juxi encourages him to do his best but not push himself too hard. Sumo tells her not to worry, assuring her that he will definitely win since he is the strongest genius learner.